if you're taking notes and paying attention, there'll be several things that you'll walk away with that are useful, I promise. But with that, I wanted to start off with a bit of discussion. Open Q&A is fine. If you have any question whatsoever, I'm happy to take that here up front. Don't worry if it goes too long, I'll call it and we'll move on. But I do think we should start off with some questions. And before I turn it over to those hands that might be up in Zoom, I also wanted to say that I would like to hear from some of you about what you perceive as your most used app on any device, whether it's your iPad or iPhone. What is your go-to app? What are you using for most of the day? And if you would like, while we're having this discussion, you can even go into your settings and look at your own app usage, and it will tell you which apps you use the most. It'll tell you what your second, third, fourth, it'll rank them by order of use. And it can be very surprising to see, gosh, I am in this particular app a lot. So we'll start off by going to that setting and taking a look at it here in a moment. But with that, let's open it up to either general Q&A if you have it, or if you'd like to talk about an app you wish existed or one you use often to sort of share with the group. Okay, so with that, I'll pause. Did we get Al yet? Maybe not. Let's see.
He's just coming in.
Oh, cool. All right. Well,
how come the recording stopped?
Hello, Al, if you're here. Oh, I don't know. Looks like we're streaming to YouTube also. Cool.
Tom, why'd you stop the recording? You're muted.
Because I stopped it. It's on YouTube. It's streaming live on YouTube,
No,
but you record it there.
You want to record it.
All right. Got it. I was recording too. Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world with all this streaming and recording and YouTubing and Venmoing and
Back.
Thank you.
Now, Chris has been very patient. Chris, I've seen that hand here since the beginning. So thank you for your patience and happy to take your comment or question whenever you're ready. I just come off mute though. Before you.
You're muted, Chris.
Yeah.
How's that?
Hey. Now.
Okay. Thanks, Pete. Always good to see you. This is a follow-up on Mary's comment about the fingerprints. Is it possible that you need to that I would need to clean my just little finger, like oils, maybe build up on the fingerprint key on my Mac?
Yeah, that's not impossible. Yeah, I mean, it's such a smooth little surface that the likelihood of anything collecting is probably low. I mean, I have one on my keyboard too, and yeah, if you see any residue or if you feel that it's not smooth or something, that might be an indicator that, hey, something might have got on there. If you got pets, they're always cleaning themselves and walking around.
Right. What would be the appropriate thing to clean it with?
Any surface cleaner for kitchen or bath, but nothing stronger than that. Yeah, and anything you would use in your kitchen or bathroom surfaces, not the bleach and stuff, but just surface cleaner. Regular standard surface cleaner.
Okay.
Is always safe for regular standard surface cleaner is always safe for electronics, but do not spray it at the electronics, obviously, because the electronic devices have seams and very small egress that water and liquid could get through and cause some ruckus. So you don't want to do that. Spray it on the cloth or whatever, and then use it to wipe down. But yeah, surface cleaners are always safe, but I wouldn't go stronger than that unless you have a specific need for something like that.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Hi, Randy. I see your hand up there.
Yes, Pete, good morning. Have a question. It's regarding when I take a selfie, I notice when I send to a friend says, oh, well, it looks good, but the type is in reverse. So in other words, it's mirrored. So the type, when I send the photo, I just wondered if there's a way when I do a selfie so it's not mirrored and it can be read as it is.
Yeah, good. I like that. That's a good question, and probably not one that's obvious how to fix. So yeah, let's take a look at that. I may just put myself over here if that's okay. Now you can see my screen. I hope you can see me over here, and then the phone screen is over there, right? Let me just move that a little bit closer. So I'm just going to grab my phone that's in my hand here, and you'll see what I'm doing here on your screen, what I'm doing here on my screen. Okay, so Randy's question was, hey, on the selfie mode, the front-facing camera, when I take pictures, it reverses it or it mirrors it for me. I'd like to flip that, and Apple did put a little toggle in. So we're actually going to go somewhere right now that we will spend quite a bit of time in later as well. So you may want to take a look at the path, how we get here now. We'll be back later, but it's just settings. So I'm going to go in that, that settings app there. Hopefully the settings app is easily accessible to you. It should be on your home screen or at least close by, because it is an app that you would likely have to visit often due to things like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. You're always sort of controlling those types of things, and the settings app is necessary for that sort of stuff. So here's what I'll do is just kind of go to the front page of settings. So this is probably what you'll see if you open the settings app. If you don't see this, it's probably because you might be scrolled down too far. So you can scroll up to the top, or you might already be in a setting. So up in the upper left, you can just back out of the settings, upper left. Yeah. So in settings, I'm going to scroll down. Just take a note here, or make a note here of something, that these settings are grouped. If you look, there's subtle groupings here. They're not big bold lines or anything, but there are subtle groupings here. And those groupings are very specific for different things. So take a look as we scroll down. Before we go much further, though, to the previous comment that I had made about the apps you use, I just want to point out that one there, that screen time. I don't know why I'm showing you this one. You see it there. That screen time. You see that screen time right there? I'm kind of making it change color right in the middle of the screen there. I'm going to click that so you can see what my usage is and what apps I've been using the most lately. Little Elon Musk excitement over there at Twitter for the past few days. So I've been checking that out to see what's going on. Interesting thing going on there. But then you can see I've spent some time on Amazon, Woot, Safari, Shortcuts. Now, this is for today so far. This is just for today. But at the top of this list, I have a toggle up there. You can see it. It says week or day. So if I switch to week, yeah, this week has been a very Twitter heavy week. But you can see that throughout my week, I spend the most time in Twitter. Let me just say something. Normally, Twitter would not be at the top of my list. I'm not a big Twitter user, but there's a lot of controversial things taking place over there, and it's really interesting to watch history unfold there over on Twitter. So if you're not familiar with what's going on, check out the headlines. It's at least interesting, if nothing else, what's happening. So Twitter, I've been on a lot, but normally you wouldn't see that at the top. So let's just ignore that one for a second. But then you see I've got messages. That's my connection to people. That's my connection to my friends, my family, even coworkers. So messages, it would make sense that I spend time in there, as you probably do too, connecting with the people in your life. Teams is like messages, but for work. So that's how I communicate when I'm working, is with Teams. So that would stand to reason that would be high up on the list too. That's a big common work app for me. And then spending money is my hobby. So Amazon's on there for an hour and 24 minutes this week. But yeah, I had to do some shopping. And then you can see Safari, Mail, and Calendar. Yours probably aren't so much different than mine, right? Because you probably have messages very close to the top. Safari is probably very close to the top. Mail is probably very close to the top, because these are simply apps we use often. Way more cool stuff in there that we will look at later, but I'm going to just back out now, back to that front screen, and scroll down a little further. And I'm looking at all these little clusters that you see on the screen. Here's another one right in the middle there that has App Store and Wallet together. And then as we scroll down, there's another pretty big cluster here. And this is akin to your utilities folder on your Mac, but that's kind of another big cluster there. And in that big cluster are a lot of the built-in apps that you can change the settings for. And then going down even further, we have another cluster with music, TV, photos, camera, books, podcasts, iTunes, you, and Game Center. Camera is the one we're after, Randy. Boy, was this a long answer to a short question. But anyway, camera is the one we're after. If I tap on camera, here is the toggle now to mirror the front camera. Here it is here, mirror front camera. If you toggle that, you'll get that flip that you're looking for. Boom.
Pete, which way would you suggest to leave it on, or what would be the reason why not leave it on all the time so the print shows up correctly?
I think Randy's use case, or the reason he asked this question, is because he was doing something with like maybe holding up a sign or something that had text on it, and that'll flip that text around so the finished product has the text backwards. So in that case, he's going to have to go in, flip it, take the picture, and then flip it back if you want. Some people feel they look weird when they're flipped. I don't. I look weird all the time. But some people feel like they look unusual when they're in the flipped mode. It's not the way they see themselves in the mirror, so it throws them off. I suggest you try it because it is interesting to see yourself flipped. You're used to looking in a mirror, and mirror is obvious to you, but when you see the other side, it's very strange. So check that out and try it. You may like it better, but it is definitely necessary if your text is coming out backwards. Obviously, you got it flipped the wrong way.
Thank you, Pete. Yeah, that was the exact case. I was at a golf course. One of the hole starting, signs was there, like what hole number. And my hat had like a Diamond Oaks printing on the front of the cap. It was cold, misty last Tuesday. So the type on the text and the type at the hole was also reversed or backwards. So that was it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So yeah, that's a great use case. I'm curious, were there any surprises when you went into your app usage and you looked at what you use the most, either today or this past week? Was anybody surprised at anything they saw? Did you go, no way, I never expected that to be in there, or anything? I am sometimes. Like Twitter, I just realized I spent way too much time on Twitter this week. That was a lot. So it was a jolt for me when I saw that 10 hours over the week I spent on Twitter. That's a lot. But it's things like that can be surprising, and they tend to jolt me into better behaviors. I'm like, okay, I'm going to limit myself to that type of thing. So that's what we're going to look at next. If there aren't any hands or people who are wanting to comment about that, what we're going to look at next is how to set limits for yourself or others if you want, but most importantly, how to set up parameters and limits on your own device for apps. And if you wanted to, you could do others as well.
Pete, while we're just out of camera, I think it's a quick, simple question. When I bring up my camera to take a picture, the live feature is always defaulting to on, which I forget to turn it off, and then I get multiple images. Is there a way to default it to the off position?
Yes, there is. Let's see. So we're talking about, I've got my camera open now. Hopefully all of you can see that. And in the upper right corner, there is this symbol here, and that is the live photos symbol. And that live photos symbol can be toggled on or off, as you can see. But the question that's before us is, well, when I toggle it off, use something else, and then come back to my camera, then it's in a different state than before. And I don't want that. I want it to stay the same as the way I put it. So again, that's another good observation and something, yes, let's get that fixed. Let's go back to the settings app here. And in that same place we were, if you were there, is camera, the camera settings. It's the same setting. And let's see. Here we go. If you look right in the middle of the first cluster there, it says preserve settings. And if we click that, it'll say, it should say, when you relaunch, here, let me see.
Camera mode, preserve the last mode.
Preserve the last mode, yes. So you can do preserve the last mode, or you can, the other one is like opt to back to the default or whatever. So.
Oh, well, the bottom one there, I see third live photo. So on preserve settings, let's see.
Okay.
I should do that one, not camera mode.
Preserve the live photo setting rather than automatically reset to live photo turned on. Yeah, preserve the live photo setting means whatever you decide on that toggle switch back on camera, whatever you decide, it will respect. If you don't have preserve the live photo setting on, it'll automatically reset to live photo on. So yeah, switching this on gives you more control. But if you're bad at remembering to switch it back on, you may think you're shooting in live and you're not. By the way, let's just talk about live for a moment. There's some people who love live photo mode and some people who don't. Live photo mode simply takes 3 seconds of video. And they call it a photo because it's not really a video, it's only 3 seconds. The key thing to remember about live photos is kind of hard to get my head around. Let me see if when you do a live photo, it records 3 seconds of video. 1.5 of those seconds are in the past, and 1.5 of those seconds are in the future. So when you put it on live photo mode and you push the button, so I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to put it on live photo mode. And I'm going to make sure live photo is turned on. When I take this picture, when I hit that button, it is going to give me the last 1.5 seconds and the next 1.5 seconds. It's not going to give me the next 3 seconds. That's one of the reasons people like live photo, is because if you've got toddlers or kids who are beginning to walk or whatever, little things like that that require an urgent quick draw for your camera. Well, now when you shoot, it's going to get 1.5 seconds before you hit the button because it knows you want to get that urgently. That's why live photos sometimes look odd. It looks like the person's moving the camera to where they want to take the picture every time I see a live photo. But that's because the person operating the camera didn't realize that it's getting 1.5 seconds of before I hit the button in addition to 1.5 seconds after I hit the button. So if you do use live photos, remember, keep your phone still for a moment before you hit the button to make sure you get a still 1.5 seconds and the next 1.5 seconds. But if you are moving and doing this and you hit the button, well, you'll get 1.5 seconds worth of you coming up with the camera. What that does is allows people to get 1.5 seconds of time before they were ready to shoot. And it's cool sometimes, but it's annoying other times. So I leave live photo off 99% of the time. I rarely turn it on. But my wife, on the other hand, has it on all the time because she enjoys those types of photos. So it's just a matter of preference. But keep in mind that you're getting 1.5 seconds from the past and 1.5 seconds in the future. Sounds crazy.
Pete, how does it know how to do the past if you haven't engaged the button?
Yeah, isn't that cool? It's always recording. It's always recording, but that recording is just deleting itself every 1.5 seconds. So it's always recording on a 1.5 second loop. When you have the camera open, I don't mean always, but when you have the camera open, it begins recording on a 1.5 second loop. The reason why this is a new thing that we can do now is because processors have never been powerful enough before this time in history to be able to begin recording at all times. They're so powerful now that it can just begin recording as soon as the camera's on. So when you hit the go button, it says, okay, great. I'm gonna grab 1.5 seconds that's already been recorded because I've been recording this whole time, even before you hit the button. And I'm gonna grab the next 1.5 seconds. So you get a total of 3 seconds. It's some
another useful aspect of that is you can go into that live photo and choose a single frame and save it as a photo. So if you're shooting a moving target or a facial expression, you can go in and choose the best of that 3 second clip.
Yeah, good call out, Dennis. Yeah, live photo takes that video, and by the way, all video is just a bunch of stills smashed together, right? We remember that from animation from the early days, right? The drawing one image and drawing another on top of it. All video is just a bunch of still photos shown in succession, much like a film strip. So yeah, that's what live photo does. It takes a video, but those are all photos. And to look inside your live photo to see the number of videos that have been taken is kind of fun. So look, I'll take a live photo. Let me see, let's just get some of this stuff here. Well, I should use like some movement here. I'm just gonna take a live photo. Okay, I just took this live photo here. And with a live photo, if I hold my finger down on the screen, it'll play the live photo for me. Let me see how that's live. So if I think I have to go in my camera roll. Yeah. Yeah, so I just took a live photo. It looks like a photo in my camera roll. The only way I could know it's a live photo is in the upper left-hand corner. I see the symbol that says live. I can pull that symbol down and tell this live photo to behave a certain way if I want to. I can turn live photo off on any photo that was previously a live photo. I can tell it to loop, bounce, or long exposure. So watch when I do loop, it is going to just simply keep that live photo moving constantly. It never stops in my camera roll. It's always moving. And then if I do bounce, it's just going to change that to bouncing back and forth over and over again. It won't stop. And then if I change it to long exposure, it's going to do something very strange where it calculates all of those frames together. So if you were wanting to do a long nighttime exposure, live photo is a very cool way to do that. And then finally in there, you have off, where I've turned live photo off, and now it's just a regular photo. So to Dennis's point, you get the best of both worlds. You get a film strip of photos available to you, and you get a little video. One last thing about live photos, if I go to the edit in the upper right-hand corner, all of the photos that make up my live photo are available to me right up in when I hit edit. So if I hit edit and go down to the live button at the bottom, that very same icon, it kind of looks like a bunch of concentric circles with a perforated one on the outside. That will show me all of the frames of the video I took. You see them all down there at the bottom? I can look through each one. One of them has a dot at the top. Do you see that dot? That's Apple telling you that, hey, we believe this is the best photo of the bunch. That's what the dot means. So when you go to the dot, it's probably going to be the clearest and best exposed photo. You have the ability to go through all of them, select any of them that you want, save them as photos if you'd like, or change the key photo, change the way it's viewed on the front cover. Notice now, this is the way the photo is viewed in my camera roll. But if I wanted to advance that, say to here, where that little curly thing is there, and tap on make key photo. Now in my camera roll, that's going to be the key photo. This is all interesting, very useful if you're into it, not so much if you're not, but there are some cool capabilities there nevertheless that everybody could probably have fun tinkering with in live photo.
Pete, how do you get down into that section again?
The section where you can see the film strip of all the images that make up the live photo.
Yeah.
Step one to get to that place where you can see those images is you've got to be on a live photo to begin with. So as you can see here in the upper left-hand corner, it says live. It doesn't have a slash through it. I can see that very clearly. If you're not sure if your photo is a live photo, what you can do is, let's see, let's see if I go here, how do I see the, yeah, sorry. If you're not sure which of your photos are live photos, what I'm going to do is show you here in the albums page. Now, just some context of how you get here. I'm in the Photos app. And see down at the bottom, that row of icons? One of them says albums, right? And that's where I'm at right now. I'm in albums. That's where I went. Photos app and then albums. If you scroll down on albums, it's going to have a list called media types. And if you go in media types, look, there's live photos. It will break out all the live photos you have for you all in one album automatically. So you can see I have 372 live photos myself. So if I click it, it's going to show all of my live photos. And I know they're live because when I tap on one, it's going to give me that little video. See that little piece of video there, like that. So those are live photos, and you can find them all in that folder. Tap it. Yep. Yep.
What does this do to memory? Does it take twice the memory to hold a live photo?
Yeah, it's a good question. It does not take twice the memory. It takes more memory, but the reason it isn't, it really should be about 10 times the memory because it's taking 10 photos for every one. But what it does, because it's a live photo, it has to move really quickly. The photos in live photos aren't the full fidelity camera sensor like you get from any other photo. They're a little less. They're a little less quality than a regular photo. So that's to manage the size and keep it down. Because to your point, some people have live photos turned on and they leave it on all the time, and it's always shooting in live. So that's 10 images or so for every, or 15 images for every one you take. It's a lot. So they reduce it down a little bit to make it so they're not so big. But yes, it is more than the regular photos for sure. Okay. Sorry. Well, the question though that I have not gotten to yet is this: how do you get to that film strip? Okay, this is a live photo, and I can see that some of these have some better fog in front of us. So how do I get one of those to be the photo? Well, in a live photo, if you are in a live photo, and again, the indicator for me is in the upper left-hand corner. I do see the live symbol, and it is not slashed out, so I know this is the live photo. I'm just simply going to edit it like I would any other photo. Edit is in the upper right up there, so I'll just hit the edit button. And I'm not done though. This is standard edit right here. You can edit this like any other photo. But down at the bottom, you see down there, there's that live photo symbol. So if I tap on that at the very bottom next to the word cancel, that live photo symbol, that's going to show me the film strip of all the photos that are available. Now I can go to the one that has more fog on there like that, make it the key photo, and now that photo is improved a tiny bit. I just got to show you one more thing while we're here. I recognize some of your faces from decades. We've been doing this for a long time. And I love that fact that we're still here and we're still at it and we're still doing it. There was a feature that was rolled out not too long ago. I was like, where was this 10 years ago? You got to see this feature. It isn't very publicized, which I don't really understand, but hey, maybe it's just for us geeks. I want to show it to you though, because it's astonishing what it's capable of. Check this out. I'm going to leave this photo. This will be our sample photo. And then I'm going to open, what do you guys prefer for a page layout app? What is the go-to page layout app? Mine would probably be Keynote or Pages. I think those are the simplest. Some of you use Word, some of you use PowerPoint. For this demonstration, what app should I go to for page layout? Do you think Pages would be probably the most straightforward?
Yep.
Let's do Pages. Okay. I'm going to launch Pages, right? Pages. There's Pages. Oh, I guess I haven't used it in a bit. It should be snappy. It's right there. Oh, that's the folder for Pages. Okay. Doing a little app download here. By the way, your phone will offload apps into the cloud if you don't use them for a certain period of time. This is to free up space on your device. So I may not have used Pages on my phone for a few months, and then it says, okay, we're going to take it off so it's not taking up space. When I do want to use it again, I have to re-download it.
Isn't that a setting choice though?
It is a setting choice, yes. You can decide whether you want that to happen or not. With today's internet speeds being so fast, I don't really mind it downloading when that happens. But if you're in a place where you don't have internet, that's where it could be more difficult. Okay, here we are in Pages. I'm just going to do a blank document. Choose, just start writing. I'll just do a blank document like this. Here we go. There's our canvas. We can write here. And that's fun. And so here, I'm going to go back to photos. This is so cool. Okay, look at this. If there's a subject in your photo that is somewhat obvious, so in this photo, what would the subject be? It's me and the kids, me and the wife and kids, right? That's the subject of this photo. So what Apple has done is gone in and identified the subjects of all photos. It knows what the important stuff in a photo is. Now, if I wanted to use this photo in Pages on my page layout, I want to import this photo into Pages. But I kind of would like to get rid of the background. But look, that background is really, really messy. So Instant Alpha wouldn't work because that background is really busy and there's no real automatic way to cut them out of the background until now. Apple's built it into this device. Look at this. If I hold my finger down on the subject, look what happens. I pull them right off the photo. I pulled the subjects right off the photo. And now with the other finger, I'm just going to switch over to Pages, and I'm going to drop that right inside of Pages. So now I just took the subject from that previous photo, pulled it off of the background automatically, and dropped it into Pages for use over there with no background at all. Absolutely breathtaking feature. Take a look at, here's a family in front of trees with a busy background. Let me grab them just like that off that photo and drop them here in Pages, just like that. Look at that, no background, background deleted. That's built into your iPhone now.
What version of iPhones? Does it have to be the newer ones?
I was just going to say that because I was going to go, I hope it's all of them. I think it's going to be the M, the new chip, the M. Well, I'm curious. I have the 14 Pro Max. If anybody has a 13 Pro Max, I'm curious to see if yours does this, or is it just a feature of the 14?
I accidentally discovered that feature this morning, and I have a 14 Pro.
Okay, you've got the Pro Max also. Yeah, if anybody has a 13, I'd be curious to see if that's something it will do, or it relies on this hardware here to take. But it's
Just hold your finger on it to select it.
Yeah, you hold down for a moment, and then let me just
Not
add
working on my 13.
Well, I got to add this caveat. If it's a live photo, it gets a little awkward because
It's not live.
yeah, if it's a live photo, it gets a little awkward because not only does the photo think you want it to play through the 3-second live photo, but then it's also trying to lift the subject from the background. So this is a live photo, and I want to show you what I do to, I guess, get around the tug of war that happens between a live photo and just trying to get that background. What I want you to look for when I do this, if you are watching or you are following along, is there will be a white strip that goes through the subject. It's very brief, but you'll see it happen. I want to show you that. Watch the subject here and watch a white scan line go down the subject. You'll see once here, let me do it again. Did you see that scan line?
Yes.
That's telling you it's identified that that's the subject, right? And it's ready to be lifted. So what I do is I hold down for a moment, and then I start moving my finger, and that takes the subject off, go right back over to Pages, and then drop that in to your page layout program. Now, can anybody with a 13 Pro Max tell me if this is possible on your device, or please, if you have a 14 Pro Max, also verify that it's alive and well on yours.
It's not working on my 13 Pro.
Correct.
Okay.
I tried also. It didn't seem to.
And you have to have Pages open?
Nope. That was just a place to show you where we can put the photos. You don't have to have that open. I was just using that as a place for them to land once you pulled it off.
My 13 works.
Your 13 works, okay?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I was doing it on the 13 Pro that I don't have anymore. So I have a 14 now.
And I've got a 10.
Won't do it on a 10.
It won't. Okay, I won't even
So
try.
my
then.
13 Pro Max should be able to do it.
I
Could
think
be.
we just had somebody verify that their 13 Pro Max did indeed, yes.
All right.
Yeah, mine does that. 13
Oh,
Pro
I may
Max.
not have updated my software. I haven't updated yet. Okay, got it.
But I don't know how to get it to Pages.
Yeah, that's the next step. I'll show you that next. But that was too good not to show you while we were in the camera app. Now, who's ready to get it over to Pages? Who's ready for that step? That's the face I make when we have to do this step. But here's what the step looks like. I'm sorry, but this is a little unwieldy, but I'm going to do it for you here. What I do is, sorry, I don't know why I just did that accidentally. Okay, what I do is, step one is to get that subject off the background. I do that first move, which is to grab and start moving my finger around. Here's the thing. If I grab it and I don't start moving it around with my finger, it's going to think that I'm trying to play the live photo. So what I do is I tap for 1 second and then start moving, okay? That's the way you get it off the background, and you can just hold it there for as long as you want. Just hold your finger on there and keep that piece of art pinned right there with your finger. Okay, that's how to get it off the background. Now I'm going to take my other hand, look at this, and I'm going to switch apps over to Pages. So you just app switch like that, right over to Pages, or whatever app I want. If I want to drop that into an email, I could quit, switch to my email app, open a new email, and look, I just dropped that right into a new email message. I'll show you that again because I know that's different. But here we are in a photo. I say, I want to email that face to somebody. That's cool. And I don't have email open right now. I don't have to worry about any of that. I just need to first step, grab that subject off the image. And I'll do that by, like we just said, start by moving that around. And I can just relax right now because I know I've got the image off the background and there's no pressure right now for me to do anything. I don't have to move. I've got it. I know with some things, there's a lot of pressure to do step 2 right away or something, but once you've got step 1, enjoy that for a minute. Say, all right, I got the subject off the background. This is cool. We've got step 1 done. Okay. And then all step 2 is, without ever letting go of that subject, I'm just going to quit photos. Look, I quit, but I'm still holding on to that subject. You see, I'm still holding it. And if I bring it down to my, and if I just launch my email app over here, right? I launch my email and I start a new email, then I can release this once it's in the body, just like that. I released it and now it's in the body of an email. So what we did was we grabbed it and we got a hold of it, and then we were able to go to any app we wanted, just like operating our phone normally. The only caveat was we had to keep one finger on that pinned photo so we could take it where we wanted to go. That's something I don't think we've ever done with the iPhone before, because that type of multitasking wasn't readily available. I know some apps would have done it, but now you can seamlessly switch between apps while holding an object and bringing it to another app. So to me, that's an extraordinary feature of iOS 16 that is very useful. I saw a hand up there, I think, Deborah. And you might be on mute. You might still be muted there, Deborah. Oh, no, I think we can hear you now. Oh, now we got you. Go ahead.
Hey, Pete.
Yeah.
It's Ken
Hi, Ken.
from Iceland. How is everybody? I'm just checking in really quick and don't want to interrupt. I'm heading back to the hotel and I'll tune in later and see how it's going. Thank you.
Hey, I've seen some amazing photos from Iceland, just breathtaking. I can't wait till you share them with the group.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. So I'll shoot some over chat files to you guys, but I'll talk to you later. Thanks, Pete. Thanks for coming to class too.
Oh yeah, thanks
Bye-bye.
for having me. Bye-bye. Okay, that feature done. I see some hands up. Deborah, do you want to try again? Oh, still no audio, strangely, and I don't see your mute symbol. Are you coming to us from your phone, Deborah? No. Well, your audio is not coming through. I apologize. Please feel free to butt in if you get that fixed. We're happy to take your question, or you can drop it in the chat. But for now, your audio is not working. I'm going to jump over to Kathy for a moment, and I'll check back in with you here. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Does it only work for live photos, or does it work for a photo also?
Yeah, any photo should work fine.
So when I put my hand on, I have a 13 Pro, but when I put my finger on an image, it doesn't capture it. So I guess that means that mine doesn't work.
Maybe not, because it is a little bit unwieldy. So if you are having that experience, don't give up just yet, because it takes a little bit of a feel to get used to it, because it's not a convention we've really ever used before. It's not like click or double tap. It's kind of an awkward gesture where I've got to hold down and then start pulling it off the background immediately. Just putting my finger down isn't really enough because, well, you can see he pops out of that photo. Take a look at this. This will be good to observe for those of you who are trying this. If I put my finger on Isaiah and I just leave it there, you'll see that the iPhone will identify the subject with a little scan line. Watch this. Did you see that scan line? That meant that the subject was identified and I can now start moving it. If you're not seeing that scan line, it's probably your hardware, that the hardware is not capable of it because it's not a toggle switch you turn on or off.
Pete, it's an update. It says in 16.1, it lets you lift the subject of an image from the background and copy and paste it. So it's a matter of upgrading the software. I have a 13 Pro Max.
Aha, good to know. Okay, so there we have it. That it is a feature of 16.1. Yep, really fun.
Thank you.
Really fun.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so if your device is not upgraded to 16.1, and I did not know that. Thank you. I thought it was just the 16 rollout. I didn't know it was a supplemental update. So yeah, have 16.1 in there. 16.2 is out now, so get that loaded up if you haven't already, or don't if you don't want to. Okay.
I thought 16.2 was in beta. Was it already released?
I think so. Yeah, I think we've got it now. Let me see.
16.1 has been released to everybody. 16.2 is developer beta at the moment.
Yeah. Mid-December, I think. That's what they're
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I
For
misspoke.
the public, it should go public beta in a week or two.
But wait a minute, I don't have 16.1 yet, I don't think. Oh, I have 16.01. Yeah, I don't have 16.1 and I'm doing
Well, you need to update because there's security problems with 01.
Yeah, I know. I just my charger in my room is broken. So I leave it off the charger at night now. But yeah, I got to fix that. Yeah, I have 16, not 16.1, and it's working for me. So if you do have 16 and a 13 Pro Max or a 14 Pro Max, you should be seeing it. If you're not seeing it happen on a 13 Pro Max or a 14 Pro Max with at least iOS 16 installed, I'm happy to spend a few minutes afterwards and take a look at your device to see, well, maybe we can troubleshoot and figure out why it's not working. Okay, gosh, this amazing opener to this segment. I've had a blast. This 48 minutes. I didn't even realize how much time went by, but good stuff, I think, so far. I've got, let me open my notes here. I've got some things I want to make sure we cover.
Pete, read the note from Deborah Cross in chat.
Okay, will do. Let's see, chat is here. When I unmute, there's an orange triangle with exclamation point. I click it and use my new Mac Air, open system preferences, clicked it, and all went away. We'll try again. Yeah, Deborah, what I suspect is a pesky little message pops up whenever you install Zoom on your device, like the MacBook Air or whatever, and it says, will you allow access to the microphone? Sometimes we click no out of just instinct, like, oh no, I don't want to do that. And then you got to go back and re-enable it if that was the case. So that would be my first order of troubleshooting there, is just see if you've got those open, and that would be in your preferences. If you want to stay afterwards, I could even troubleshoot with you and walk through the preferences with you. But I'm
Pete,
sorry.
when you join the meeting, it asks if you want to use your computer audio. So she could have said no to that as well.
Yep, could be that too. Yep.
She can turn it. Well, never mind.
Okay, record this. All right. Cool. Let's see. Moving on. All right. So here we are. Did anybody give any thought to my opening statement about apps you love or must use, or you feel that are incredible apps? If you're thinking about that, get those hands up. I see June. Hi, June. You can come off mute if.
Hi, I have automatic updates on because you guys taught me to do that.
Yes.
But I'm still at 15.7.1. So why isn't it up to 16 like everybody else?
Do you have older hardware? What model phone is it?
SE.
Oh, that can only go to 15, I think. I don't think that's capable of 16.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, that's just a hardware thing there. Yeah. But yeah, automatic updates. There's two schools: keep it on and keep it updated, or keep it off and wait and see. I am the keep it on school, keep everything updated. Like you heard Bob say a second ago, vulnerabilities get patched with those updates and that sort of thing. So, you know, it isn't like the old days where they're redoing everything on every update. Most of them are just maintenance updates and shouldn't be worrisome to us. All right, June, did we finish that? Are you all set? I'll put that hand down. Okay, perfect. Hi, Bev. I see that hand.
Yeah, I guess in terms of apps, a year ago about this time, you advised about Paprika being on sale, and I went ahead and bought it for across all my devices and have actually been successful in learning how to use it, unlike other apps like Evernote. But that's been, I've enjoyed it a lot. I can put it on a remote device now and take it with me. I have one that I target for when I go to my vegan brother's house and do cooking. So I throw all my vegan recipes into a section, and I've really enjoyed it.
Bev, I'm glad you brought that up. If I had to name the #1 most useful app that isn't an Apple app, a third-party app, the #1 most useful third-party app, it's Paprika. And I don't even like, I don't have like some big collection of recipes, but it solves a problem that is so difficult. And that is trying to get a recipe off of a website. It solves the problem in one click. It is an amazing app. It cost me $5 and its utility is irreplaceable. It is absolutely incredible, that app. I just can't overstate how important Paprika is. Paprika is what it's called, and it's a recipe manager. And I wouldn't necessarily be so in love with it if you just entered recipes into it. I wouldn't necessarily be so in love with it because that's just a database app at that point. But what this app does is magically reaches down into any website and pulls the recipe out of it with ingredients separated and instructions separated. And it's printable at this point now, where you don't print a web page with a bunch of ads on it and it's 6 pages and you got to flip through to get to the bottom where the ingredients finally are. It's all just working. It's so incredible. Paprika. And if you go to a website and you see a recipe, you can just punch the URL into Paprika. Paprika will go vacuum that recipe right off that website. And now it's in your Paprika for good. Incredible. Paprika is what it's called. It's on the App Store for all devices: Windows, Mac, iPad, iPhone. It's all different prices on all different devices. I only own the $5 version for my phone. The desktop version, like Bev was talking about, is pretty pricey. I think it's 30 or 40 bucks. I want it so bad because there have been times where I wanted to sit here and do it instead of on this little screen. I wanted to put in recipes or do something here on this big screen. So I'm this close to buying it. If I get an App Store gift card for Christmas, I am going to get me that Paprika app for the desktop. But check it out. I could do a whole class on that app. It's extraordinary.
A question though, Pete, you said when you go to, I always go in and just copy paste the URL into Paprika, but you're saying from the website from a recipe site you can press a URL and it goes in?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Bev, check this out. Under this little menu, you could even browse the web right in the app. And in the app, you can just tell it, download this recipe whenever you come across a recipe. The other thing I want to show you is if you search for a recipe, I'm going to put, I don't know, gooey butter cake. We're in the South, right? What are we going to do? We're in Georgia, butter cake, right? You guys are all guests at my house in Georgia. So gooey butter cake it is, right? Here's the problem with recipes that you already know. You don't need me to tell you this. If I go to any one of these delicious looking recipes to make the recipe, let's just try any, it doesn't matter. And I haven't been here before. None of these links are purple because I didn't set this up this way. This is just what it's like to be in the world today and look for a recipe. When I click gooey butter cake recipe, I am looking for ingredients and I am looking for instructions. Okay. So far, I have way more than that. I have comments, I have stories, I have ads. I can't really find the instructions or the ingredients in a way that's easy to digest. Even the ingredients here are divided by ads. This is horrible. This is a horrible experience. But check this out. Since I have Paprika installed on my device, I use the share button right? Because I want this recipe, but I can't stand this website. I'm going to use the share button. And look who's down there waving at me. Paprika's down there. Do you see her? She's right down there going, hey, I'm right here. If I hit Paprika right now, if I hit that button, that recipe gets vacuumed off that website and put into Paprika. Look at this. All the ingredients are separated. All the instructions are separated. I can scale this if I want to. I can do 2x, 1x, half the recipe. It'll all go automatically in there. I can put my own notes and my own nutrition facts in there. And when I hit save, that just went from Safari, the website, to a recipe in my Paprika app that's now stored there. See it at the top? It's now stored there, and I can click it anytime I want. There it is, directions and ingredients separated out right in my app. And the printing is amazing. In fact, I'm going to print one for y'all right now, just so you can see the way this thing prints. It is so good. Here we go. Print. Because, you know, you don't want to be in the kitchen with a nice book or something and get that all flowery and sugary. This, I just print a new one whenever I need it because I'm on HP's Instant Ink program and I pay $3 a month to print pretty much as I want. I print the thing, I get it all messy and I toss it knowing that I can just print another one the next time. And here it comes. Here it comes from the app to my printer, and there is the recipe from the website. Directions and ingredients very clearly broken out, a picture of the thing and what the recipe is at the top, place for me to write notes and stuff, and then throw it away when I'm done and back to my recipe. So Paprika, if I was stranded on a desert island, that's the app I would want to take with me.
Pete, one last or question. Like, I understand the share button if one's on a phone or a tablet. Is there a share button if one's on a desktop?
No, I don't think desktop version brings that. But if you are on a desktop, you can just copy the URL. That's probably what you do, right? You copy the URL and you just paste it over in Paprika, right?
Yeah, or I search for Paprika. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you put a recipe that you already have into Paprika?
Absolutely. You absolutely can. In fact, my mother gave me a recipe that was written on a card that she wrote 40 years ago. I took a picture of it and used the Photos app to take the text, right? I can now select text on a photo with the new Photos app, and I can take that text and paste it into Paprika. It took me about 6 minutes, but an old family recipe for Italian Easter cookies is now digitized in my phone and can be passed on to others as time goes by. Because those little boxes with all the recipes in there, we got to get those digital because I need them. I need those recipes before, my kids need these recipes before I go because, I want to see them make this stuff. So I'm just saying, amazing app, and you can share the recipe with people. You can export the recipe right from the app to a PDF file if you want and share it as a PDF. It's just extraordinary. Those people really have their act together at the Paprika office. Okay, let's talk a little bit about basics here. What's the time? 12, we're going 1 hour. We got another 30 before we break. I want to talk a bit about basics like the home screen, for instance. We haven't talked about this much in a while because it's very basic. It's the home screen, right? We use the home screen. It's where our apps are, but there is now more to the home screen than ever. And I want to talk a bit about the home screen and ways we should be optimizing our use of the home screen. Number one, just moving apps around. Hopefully you know how to rearrange your apps and even place them in folders if you want to, so you can group them. Everybody feel pretty comfortable with that. It's the same process we've always done, but it's changed slightly over the years in the way you do it. I do want to show you something you may not be aware of in terms of being able to move apps around. It invokes a similar convention to the thing we use to get the subject off a photo and put it in Pages, right? Let me show you what I mean. If I want to take 5 of these apps and go put them on another screen, I may have to put my finger on each one and drag each one over to the other screen, right? It's pretty tedious. But now I have the ability to hold my finger down on one app, right? And I've got that, I can move it wherever I want. Whichever other app I tap is going to be collected in that selection under my finger. So you can see here, wait one sec. No, that was not my intention. I actually made a folder because I'm trying to do it backwards. Okay, so if I hold down an app, and I tap others, notice they go right under my finger to be part of this collection. So now I'm moving around 6 apps. I've grabbed 6 apps and I'm moving them as a group. This is very convenient if you want to clean up your home screens and organize the way things are. You can now grab big clusters of apps. It used to be that I had so many pages and I had to go through and grab one from each page and bring it back to the home. It was tedious. Now you can grab a whole group of them and move them around. So that's a relatively new feature that you ought to know about. I'm going to take them out of this folder I accidentally created by. There we go. Okay, so that's my home screen and the way I arrange it. Now, hopefully you're customizing yours and you've got everything right where you want it. There are now widgets available for the home screen. Widgets on the home screen can be useful or not, depending on what your workflow is. Widgets are the same as they were when they were launched in iOS 10 Tiger. They are little bits of information that are stored for a glanceable consumption, right? You just glance at them and you can see some information. I'll show you my widgets. They're right here. I just push over to the right and my widgets pop up. And what my widgets are, they're arranged very specifically. My top one is my calendar. My second one is my mail, and the third one is the weather. So at a glance, I can go from my home screen over to my widgets and see these things without having to go to each individual app. I see my calendar at the top, my email inboxes, and my weather. Then I can look down at top stories and news or whatever I might want to see down there. But this is glanceable for me. If I'm standing here going, I got to quickly check on what my next appointment is, and if I've received any emails. I don't have to go to my calendar now. I don't have to go to my mail app. I just swipe this way. And I say, okay, tomorrow I've got fall photo event at 12:30, and in my inbox is nothing urgent right now, so I can go back here. Widgets have become extremely useful, and they're fully customizable. You can put them any old way you want, anywhere you want, and there's sizes that you can change. So hopefully you're using widgets.
Where do you get the widgets, Pete?
Yeah, to invoke widgets, I'm gonna push this stuff over to the left. So I'm on my home screen and I push over to the left. It's almost like I'm going one more screen over, right? I'm gonna go one more screen to the left and then my widgets pop up. At the bottom of this menu, you can see the word edit down there. This is how I would edit my widgets and add new ones or subtract ones that are already there. When you go to the edit button, you can see that you can add new widgets and customize your widget screen. And it's going to show you all the widgets that are available to you. So if you want to utilize any of these widgets in your widget area, you can just put these over there and decide that you want this to be a glanceable piece of information. And then widgets that I would love to, hey, we should have a whole class on widgets, but check that out. If you're not already using it, I do want to spend the rest of this time probably on focus though. So we are going to switch to, wait, no, I think I can save that till the next segment.
Hey,
yeah.
Pete, how did you create a folder when you were moving the icons? How did you create a folder?
To create a folder, simply drag one app on top of another. And if you drop one app on top of another, you'll see a container will appear and both will be in the container now. And you can rename the folder simply by tapping on the name of it when it's open. So if you open a folder like this one here that I have called home, if I tap the word home up at the top, I can change the name of the folder there. Oh yeah, you got lots of folders, Deborah. A ton of them. Yeah, oh yeah, you keep your stuff organized. I like it.
You are dangerous.
Okay.
I just ordered the paprika.
Oh, good, good. You gotta have, that's so amazing.
I'm trying to eliminate apps.
Yeah, you got a few there. And you got your mic working, right?
Yes.
You can see.
Add something before you move, Pete.
Yeah, please, go ahead, Bob.
Well, when you're not at 16.1 yet, so you don't have the bubble at the top, the live activities. But there's another thing, in that space below the bar at the bottom and your apps, you now have a search button.
Yeah, I think Bob's talking about right about here. You're going to see,
Yeah.
you might see dots down there right now, but in 16.1, they put a little search button. And the
It
reason they
makes
did
it
that is-
easier to find apps.
well, the reason they did that is because people couldn't remember to just do this. Nobody could remember
Yeah.
that search. So now they had to build in the word search down there. So now you'll be able to tap it. But to search now, all you do is tug down, right? You just tug it down and then you'll get to the search right there. But yeah, thanks you, Bob. Thanks, Bob, for that update. And I shouldn't be lagging behind. I would normally be fully updated. My charger is busted. Okay, so yeah, I can put focus on the next one. So yeah, I want to talk a bit about these purchases, in-app purchases, subscriptions, Apple Arcade, iCloud Family. What does all this mean? Why are there so many options now? What's the difference between an in-app purchase and just purchasing the app? What's the difference between a subscription and an in-app purchase? There's a lot to kind of go through here. So I wanted to spend the rest of the time before our break doing that. And then after the break, I have lots of cool things there too. And then notifications. I think I'm just going to start at notifications and then we can talk about purchases because notifications are maddening sometimes, if you ask me. There's just too much going on with notifications. It's too many. It's enough already. So you can manage notifications. You can go in the settings and you can manage notifications for every individual app if you want. But I have a recommendation for you. Instead of doing it that way, I've found a better entrance, if you will. I found a better way to manage your app notifications. Rather than going and viewing the list of all the apps you own and manually going into each one and managing it, the next time you're annoyed by a notification or the next time you feel that a notification is simply showing up too often, maybe you have ESPN showing up too often, maybe it's your news channel showing up too often. Let's talk about how to manage that easily. And then we'll get granular and I'll show you how to manage it per app. But the easy way to do this is when a notification comes in, you can see here, ooh, my wife is trying to buy me a hoodie. I better answer this. Let's see. Oops. She's trying to buy me a hoodie. She's asking black, but it doesn't have a hood. No, I don't want that one. I won't answer her now. We're busy. Okay, so here's my notifications, okay? This is my lock screen and these are my notifications. And there's a lot of notifications here. There's a lot of notifications here. There's a lot of notifications here. As a matter of fact, notifications have lost their utility with me because there's too many. I don't even look anymore because I can't. It's like walking into a grocery store and seeing all the sign pollution in front of you. You can't possibly read every sign. So I don't like this. So what I'm going to do is figure out which of these I need and which of these I don't and tell them I don't want to see you anymore. So let's just start with Fandango here, if you don't mind. Right in the middle of my screen is the Fandango app notifications. Well, I don't want Fandango to notify me of anything anymore. It's kind of like telling it you want to be on the do not call list, right? Hey, Fandango, stop telling me what movies are coming out. I don't want to hear it. So I could go into settings and tell this particular app, don't send me notifications anymore, but they made it really easy. They made it really easy. Take a look at what I'll do now to get on the do not call list for this particular app. Just kidding, but this Fandango app, I'm going to swipe over a little bit to reveal both clear all and options. Clear all is not what I want. That'll simply shoo them away for the moment. What I want is options, so I'm going to tap on options. Now, this is interesting because I can say, mute this for an hour. I don't want to hear any more from you for at least an hour. Now, this is nice if you are tired of getting text messages, right? For the next hour, you just don't want to be disturbed. You can take a notification and you can say, mute only this notification for 1 hour, but I still want to get all the other ones. Again, I'm going to repeat it for you so you can see how I did it. I'm on the notification screen here. or anywhere where you can view notifications. I can swipe that notification starting right and moving left. I'm just going to swipe that. Oops, where'd it go? Yeah, here we go. Swipe that. Don't go too far because it'll go all the way to the clear all button. You don't want to go that far to clear all. Go just a little bit until you see options and clear all. Then under options, you can click and you can mute for an hour, mute for today, for the whole rest of the day, or you can turn off notifications for that app right there where the crime happened. You can drop in and turn it off. This way you don't have to wait till later, try to remember, go in your apps and go in settings. If you're seeing an app too much, you can just swipe it and say no mas. So that's what I'll do right here. I'll hit turn off and now it's gone and I will not hear from Fandango again. Let's do that again with another app. I'm going to do the same thing. Home Depot. I don't want to hear from you anymore, Home Depot. I know I installed your app, but that didn't give you permission to give me ads all the time. So Home Depot, you're out. And here's how we get Home Depot out of there. I swipe until I see options. I tap and I say turn off. No more Home Depot for me. That's it. I would love to be in a place where all the notifications I saw here were of use to me. These are not. These are ads and these are reminders of stuff like your Cash app. I don't want this. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do a few more. I suggest you do too. Join me. Song Pop. I don't want to hear about Song Pop and what kind of stuff. Nope, turn off. You're gone. No more Song Pop. Let's see. Netflix. I might leave that one on. I don't mind Netflix too much. Aha, refills. I'll leave that on. I'm due for a prescription refill. It says that right there. In fact, that one's important. So I'm going to go to options and I'm going to change that important one to deliver immediately. That's now delivered immediately. And I'll pause here for questions. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Or I see, let me do it in order. I see Rick up there. Rick, sorry, Rich, you've had your hand up for a bit, Rich. So let me take Rich first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was back at widgets. How do you change the size of the widget on your screen?
Yeah, it's a good question, Rich. The problem is every widget has a different selectability of size. So some widgets will have a small, medium, and large. Some widgets are one size only. So to change the size, you'll be able to swipe through small, medium, and large. It'll be very obvious. But if it isn't obvious to you, that means that that particular widget only has the one size. But in the widget menu that you're in, where you see the widgets, when you pick the one you want, if there are multiple sizes available, it'll be swipeable, where you can go from small, medium, large, and up to.
Okay, can you show me that?
Yes, yes. I think we might hear Bob not on mute. Is that you, Bob? I don't mean to call you out if it's not you. Oh yeah, it looks like it might be Bob.
Oh, really?
87 years old. You got strong.
And Thomas, maybe. Okay. Show you how to do that with widgets. Yes. Okay. Let me go to widgets. I'm going to go where you probably are in the customize widget menu. And when you're adding a widget right here, here's all my widgets, right? When I choose to add a widget, I'm going to pick one that I know has small, medium, and large. So let me go down to the photos widget. Here it is, photos. And look, it has small. I can swipe to medium and I can swipe to large. So I have 3 options for sizes. Some widgets do not have that. If you notice down here above the blue button, I have those 3 dots. That's a visual indicator that there are different sizes to choose from, but some of them don't have that. Like, let me go to notes here. Oh, notes has lots of sizes. That's pretty cool. Let's see, what else? Let's see, App Store. App Store has 3 sizes. Wow, okay, these all have lots of sizes. Batteries, this one has 3 sizes. Geez, a lot of, let's see, Chrome has 3 sizes. Well, some have 2, some have 3. You'll just have to look through. But if you don't see that slider for different selectabilities, it means that that only has 1.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Rich. Hi, Bev. I think you're next with your hand up, or that might have been still up from last time.
No, it was, I'm not having trouble pulling up the list of notifications like you're getting.
Oh, you're having trouble pulling up the list. Sure. Yeah. And the reason you might be having trouble is because there are a lot of ways to skin that cat. It doesn't just exist in one place. So let me go through a couple of the ways for you now. First, I'll lock my screen. And here's what the lock screen looks like now. And
how does one lock a screen?
Oh, you're live. You know, when you put your phone to sleep just by tapping the button on the side. Did you do that?
Yes.
You might call it turning it off.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's a sleep button. And then what I'll do is put my finger on the screen and just roll it up, and that's going to show my notifications. I have them set to stay down at the bottom. Most of you probably have your phone set to look like this when it's on the lock screen. I don't like this, so I tell all my notifications to stay down there so I can see that lovely lady right there when I look, and I don't want to see this. So when you see it though, if you pull up from here, that's one way, is to go on your lock screen and sort of swipe up from the bottom, or I can swipe down from the corner of my phone from up here. If I swipe down from the top, it also brings me to Notification Center. So a couple different ways to get your notifications, either on the lock screen or swiping down from the upper left corner. Swiping down from the upper right corner does a different thing. Swiping down from the upper left corner would get your notifications, or it should. You can stick around to troubleshoot if it's behaving weirdly afterwards, but that's how it's supposed to behave. And then once you can see those notifications, you can swipe to get your options and then either shut them off, or there's a new option called Add to Summary. Now you can see here right in the middle of my screen, I have a morning summary there. So some of these apps, I don't really need to see in real time. Like for instance, Royal Skies here. You see that YouTube notification? That's just YouTube telling me there's a new video I might like. I don't need to see those as they happen. So under Options, I'm gonna go to View Settings. And I'm going to say, don't deliver those immediately to me. Just put them in the scheduled summary for later. This is really useful because those same notifications will still arrive, but you won't see them until your evening summary, where it shows you, here are all the notifications that had happened during the day. So hitting the settings button, and let me show you how I got here again, in case you weren't looking up. I was on any of these notifications. I simply swiped it to get those options like we've been doing. And when I tap Options, there is a selection there that says View Settings. Now, there are some very simple ones there that you can use immediately without viewing settings, but the one we want isn't on display. So I'll just hit View Settings. That takes you to this screen. Now, look, there's a lot of confusing stuff here, but you don't have to look at anything but those top three things. Let's just focus on those top three things. Allow notifications, yes or no. That's to turn it off entirely. You can say, YouTube, you no longer get to give me notifications at all. I'm turning them off. You could always go in and turn them on later if you change your mind. So this is a very quick way to get to the toggle for on and off. And then right under that, you have two choices. Either deliver them as they come. So every time a new YouTube video is released, I'll get a push notification right away. Or throw them into my scheduled summary. I get 2 of those a day, one in the morning at 8 a.m. and one in the evening at 6 p.m. So I prefer that those YouTube notifications go in there because they're not urgent and they don't really help me throughout my day. So I want to only see the more urgent or important ones. And then if we scroll down, there are a lot more. Like you can even choose the style of notification. You can choose it to announce notifications when they come in. It'll actually read it to you if you want. That might be good for text messages. You know, if you are, you know, if there are urgent texts that you might get from somebody and you wanted to just read it out loud when that urgent one comes in, you know, you can do this type of stuff. So the quickest way, again, to get there is to pull down, look for a notification that you would like to modify, you know, like this Cash App one. I don't need those as they come. So I'm going to go to Options and say, see, it's right there, Add to Summary. I don't need to see this as they come. Just go ahead and add it to my evening summary. So hopefully you're managing your notifications because they're supposed to be useful. But if you get one every minute from every app, there's no way you can keep up and it's not very useful. Add those non-useful ones to your summary and only see those twice a day. Add the real useful ones, you know, like your credit cards. You need to see those in real time. If somebody's trying to use your credit card and it says, is this you using it at a gas station in Florida? You can say no. Those you need to see immediately. But some you don't. So yeah, manage those and get those intrusions out of your way. Kathy, I see you there at the hand up.
Yeah, real quickly, what does clear all mean when you slide it instead of options?
Yeah, when you slide it and you get to clear all, that means it's just going to mark them all as seen for now. So for instance, I have a big stack of them here. Let's see, what is this? This is eRow. You can see this eRow. I have a big stack of eRow. That's the name of my router, eRow router. But let's see what else. Netflix. I have a bunch of Netflix ones here. I can just go clear all, and that's just going to get them all out for now.
But it will still keep notifying you then, so that's not what you want.
Yeah, exactly. You band-aided it, right? You got it out of the way. But if you really wanted to make it so that doesn't even show up and annoy you on that screen anymore, that's when you would go to settings.
Okay, I have one more question. I just downloaded 16.1 and it shows up on my screen, personalized spatial audio. Use your iPhone to scan your ear geometry for improved spatial audio. Get started.
I said yes. It's a little awkward because you got to like film your ear for a second, but what it does is it determines some stuff that gets added to your sound profile, and the sound is then customized for the shape of your ear. So it can do nothing but help your sound, but it is also a little odd. So
okay, thank you.
You could always skip that. Hey, the original ringtone. Nice. All right, I don't see any more hands. And if you're not talking and you're not on mute, you should be on mute. You may be disrupting others. So I don't see any more hands, but please put them up as soon as if you have any questions. Another thing I want to point out about apps is that they started building in usable shortcuts that they didn't really have before. And they're contextual. So for each app, there are going to be different usable shortcuts. So for instance, if I'm going somewhere and I need to search for a location in Maps, well, yes, you can just open the Maps app and begin to search. But if I hold my finger down on the app for just a second, a menu will pop up with different options that are specific to that particular app. Like this one says, search nearby, send my location, or mark my location. Now, hear me out here for a sec, because mark my location is really interesting. Let's say you're at an art and wine festival, and there is a piece of art that you are in love with, but you don't want to carry it around the festival. But you want to make sure you get back there because you want to pick that up before you go. Well, mark my location. Just drop a pin in the map, and you'll be able to name that pin, return here after festival, or whatever you want. And look how easy it was. I'm simply holding my phone, hold my finger down, and then just say, mark my location. I didn't have to open the app and look for a setting or look for a command or anything like that. It was just buried right under the app as a shortcut. Made it very simple. And now let's look at some other things. Like, for instance, if I wanted to, I don't know, with the Chase app, maybe I want to deposit checks. Well, instead of opening the app and trying to navigate to the place where I can deposit checks, I can just tell it before I even open the app that that's where I want to be, in deposit checks. So it's a shortcut to get exactly to where I want to be. Let's look at a couple of others, like text messages. If I hold my finger down on that, the people I message the most show up there, and that's my wife and 2 daughters. And it allows me to start a new message to any of those, or a new message to anyone right there. Or how about the phone app? If I hold my finger down on the phone app, I can view the most recent voicemail, create a new contact. Now, create a new contact is one I use a lot, because if I see somebody at the grocery store and I say, hey, Janet, let me have your number, we got to catch up. Instead of fumbling around, I hold my finger down on the phone button and simply choose create new contact. Because let me give you an under pressure pop quiz right now. If you saw Janet at the grocery store and you needed to put her number in your phone, what app do you open? Go. Phone app, the contacts app. Where is the contacts app? Can you find the contacts app? Go ahead and find it. I'll give you 1 minute to find it. Right? You're standing in a grocery store. The person's waiting for you to come on, let me put you on my phone. I just hold my finger down on the phone and it says create new contact. I didn't even have to look for an app. There it was right there. Just do one or two more. Here's music. What does it say there? Play my station or play most recent. Got little shortcuts there. Ooh, Amazon, that might be dangerous. View orders, today's deals. I can go right to my orders. If I want to know where something is, where is my thing? I'm going to hold down and go view orders, and it's going to take me right to my orders. I don't have to open the app and try to remember where the orders was. Photos, here's another one in photos. Look at that. Show me my most recent, show me my favorites, show me 1 year ago today. I can do just by tapping and holding on that. And then camera, this will be the last one. Look at that. Take selfie is right there on the home screen. I don't have to open my camera and try to remember which button turns it around for. Take selfie is right there. Do I want to record a video? Record video is right there. So these shortcuts are super useful. How did you do it? How do I remember where the shortcuts are? Easy, just hold your finger down on any app and wait for that little menu to pop up. And there it is. Lovely. So we talked about managing notifications. Oh, yes, Mary, go ahead.
Yes, somehow or another, I have a pin on my map for my home and it's labeled as Portland. And I have not been able to figure out how to change the label or delete the pin.
Okay, all right. Hey, that's a good one. I think we can handle here. That won't be a real tough one. Here is my, hey, look where I am, Georgia, guys. You guys are far away. Look how far away you guys are now. There, you're way over there. But I'm going to drop a pin in the map. Here we go. I'm going to drop a pin, and by the way, you can drop a pin anytime, anywhere. Look at this. If I want to drop a pin in Kansas, I just hold my finger down, and look, I just dropped a pin there. I just held my finger down. We can drop a pin. So there's a dropped pin. I'm gonna, now that I've dropped a pin, and that can be on a building, that can be on a state, that can be on a city, that can be on somebody's house. You can drop a pin anywhere you want. I'm going to show you again how I did it in case you blinked. But here, I'm gonna find something, something interesting right here. Here's a breakfast spot. It's called Hoy in Buford. But right next to it is a pet hospital, and it doesn't show here on maps. So I'm just gonna hold my finger down, and I just dropped a pin right where I wanted it. See that little red pin? And what I can do is in the info down towards the bottom, I can modify that pin. Now, Mary, here's your answer where it says remove down there. You can remove the pin from there. I can also rename it to whatever I want. So under more, I can rename that dropped pin. I can move it if I want. I can move it exactly to a precise location. It's right where I want. You might have a favorite parking spot that you want to tell somebody about. Hey, when you go to Costco, this is the spot right here. I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to send this to you. You got to go to this spot. And you can even share this with somebody, that spot. This worked for me in Hawaii. I found an off the map beach access area. It was amazing, but it was in a really difficult place to tell somebody how to get. I dropped a pin there, and I'll prove it because I still have that pin. If I go to my dropped pins or my favorites, in other words, let's see. Favorites. And I look for that drop pin. I have one exactly in that spot in Hawaii, and I use it every time I go visit to navigate myself to that dropped pin. So really good stuff.
Pete, that didn't work for this, and I think it's because it's attached to my home contact. Because when I press on the pin, it doesn't give me the options like you're saying.
Yeah, if it's part of your home, like the contact you have for home, let's see. Yeah, does it look more like that?
No, it says Portland. It's called Portland. And I don't know if I said it when I was in Portland. Do I go to contacts and try to change it?
Yep, I'd try that. And then if you want to stick around afterwards, I'll see if I can't troubleshoot with you.
Thank you. That's super.
And Deborah, is that is that a new one, or I don't mean to keep calling on you if it's not a new one? Oh yeah, that's new. Okay, go ahead.
It's a new one.
Okay.
Okay, you saw all my apps. I will find apps that, and I'll look at them. Oh, gee, that looks like that might be good, but I'm not going to do anything with it now. I've got, for example, a folder with to-do apps in it. And then I find later when I push the app, open the app, I don't necessarily know what to do. I kind of have to go back into the app button to go to the app store, to the app to see the description, because that's where the directions are. How do you decide which app, or do you just have to kind of use them? When I see a good, what looks to be a good, I have OCD, in case you didn't realize. When I see a good potential app, I don't want to lose it.
I have good news for you. There was a sea change in the way we manage apps, and it happened just recently. It used to be, let me describe the old way to you. It used to be that you would download apps to your device, and then you would have to decide where they went, right? Which one of my screens will this app live on, right? This is how the old way was. We had to decide which screen. And many of us had 3, 4, 5, 6 different screens to scroll through full of apps. Well, that got really old. So Deborah decided to make a bunch of apps in folders on her home screen, right?
Now I've got a bunch of folders.
Right now you got, and it's ugly, right? It's ugly.
Well, I've got 3 pages of folders.
3 pages of folders, horrible. This was the old way to manage apps. Now this is going to be bold, and those of you who leap with me will leap with me, and those of you who don't won't. I've learned that, but leap with me on this one. You only need, prove me wrong, you only need 1 page of apps and no folders, right? In today's world, that's all you need. You take the apps that you use the most, like I've done here. These apps are my daily use apps. I have to use each of these apps every day. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but I use just about every one of these apps every day. Do you want to see what my page 2 looks like? There isn't.
I know. There's nothing.
There isn't one. And here's why. There's a new thing called App Library. So I have all my most frequently used apps here, and that's it. And then when I need a different app, I just swipe over to here, and there they all are. Every app is here. Yep. And if I want to expand any of these, I can easily expand them and then collapse them. Or if I want to pull down, I get a whole list. This is now every app on my phone in list form. And if I want to use this stripe on the side to jump to a certain letter to get down to the V's or the W's real fast, I can. But I found it absolutely exhausting to have more than 1 page of apps and have to go flip through all those pages to find the things I need.
Oh, all my most recent, the apps I really use are all on the first page or part of the second page.
And get rid of all the other pages. That's it.
But, so I put all the possible apps that look interesting, put them in the library.
They'll be in the library. You don't even have to put them in there. When you download an app, they're in your app library. It's like your photo library. It's in there. So if I want to find an app, they're all right there. And if I search in that top thing, I'll find them all immediately. And they're grouped automatically. I did not group them like this. This is the app library doing that work for me.
I want to know how to get or create that app library, but I want to also ask if, you know, I've had the Pocket app sitting on my phone for probably a year or so. I finally figured out what it was for, and I started using it, and I love it. So some of these apps,
I think, Deborah, you're kind of also talking about app discovery, right? Like how do we find these great apps, and how do we know, you know, like which ones are the really useful? There's that too. Yeah, we're talking mostly about organization and the tactical part of it. But as far as discovering apps go, I know that I make it a point at least once a month to go in the App Store and look at everything Apple is touting, Editor's Choice or New This Week or This Week's Best. And I just look through them that way. There are also YouTube videos that recap this week's new apps and stuff.
I just found that. I just saw some of those.
But as far as organization goes, it is my opinion that you should have 1 page of frequently used apps, and then your next page is simply the library of everything else. And how easily can I get to the things I need to get to? Just this easily. I just start typing, and there are all the apps that start with a P. It couldn't be easier. There's also an option while we're talking about this for apps that you have not used in a long time to be offloaded to the cloud. Apple will actually take the app off your device if you don't use it for a certain number of months. It'll still show to you, it just won't be downloaded on there. So that's a great way to save space on your device as well.
But it's still taking up space in the cloud. As you can imagine, I'm having a space issue. And so I'm eliminating apps if I can't,
Yeah, get into this app library mode, because it's been liberating for me. I used to spend so much time wondering what page, what app was going to go on, and what should it sit next to, and all that. Now I just make sure all my frequently used apps are right on my front page. Everything else is easily accessible right here. And if you'll notice, one last thing about this, in the upper left-hand corner, it says suggestions. Now, that makes it really easy because those suggestions are based on my use. For instance, every night at 6 o'clock, if I use my app to turn the lights down, well, then at 6 p.m., when I come to the app library, under suggestions is going to be that app that I use every night at 6 p.m. Why? Because my phone knows that's what I'm going to be looking for right now, because that's what I always look for. If you get up at 11, or if you leave the house at 11 and go walk for 30 minutes every day, when you go to suggestions, it's going to have the workout app on there for you. It knows what your context is. Now, if it isn't there, the one you want, since it's only space for 4, you can certainly search or just scroll through what you see here. These are all automatically managed for you. I didn't pick the categories or anything like that. And you can notice I can expand each category to see what's inside and easily access any of the apps here.
And you don't have folders.
No folders. I don't have a single folder. No. And look how many apps I have. I think I have something like 1,300 apps on this phone, and they're all beautifully organized without any work from me. Look, there's all my games, just all in one category.
We're not going there.
Yeah. You do app library. I promise you won't regret it. It's a bold leap, but no more pages and pages of apps.
Get them on there in the library.
Automatic. You already have app library. You just got to access it. And the way to access it, one last thing about app library, keep swiping your pages till you get to the last page, then swipe again. It's a hidden page after your last page. So as you're swiping through all your home screens and you're looking for apps, when you get to the last page, don't stop, swipe once more, and there will be your app library.
Is that only on the phone, or is that also on the Mac?
Only on iOS devices, so phone and iPad, yeah, not on Mac OS.
Okay.
Pete, I missed how you got the list of the apps, the alphabetical list. I missed how you accessed that.
Sure, yeah. Couldn't be easier, right? I'm going to swipe past all my home screens to the app library, right? And this is where I could either search up there if I want, but if I'm here and I simply tug down, it turns into a list.
Thank you.
Yep, so here I am, flick down like a light switch, boom. Now it's a list. Got it.
I have a quick question to regress to Paprika.
Sure.
I see that you can share through the cloud, but you got to pay $30 to get it on your Mac, huh?
Yeah, maybe that was the showstopper for me. Yeah, because now they sync. So all your recipes will all be synced across all your devices. So paying that $30 is worth it because then everything syncs up automatically.
I think last year at Christmas time or so, they did have a sale, the promotion.
Yeah.
A question though, Pete, if you're trying to clear an app off your page 1 through 4 of apps to just have it show in the library, how do you remove it from one of your pages, but yet keep it in the library?
Yeah, excellent question. I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to skip right over that. So thank you for reminding me. Just like we learned before, if you hold your finger down on an app, a context menu like this will pop up, just like I have. And notice there's a remove app option down at the bottom there. So when I tap remove app, it now gives me a choice. Now this is important. So tune in, my OCD partner, because delete app is one thing. That means I no longer want this app. I don't care. I'm just going to delete it. Remove from home screen deletes it from the home screen, but keeps it in the library. So you'll always have it in the library. This gives you the option to either delete it altogether, which isn't that big of a deal because you can go re-download any app you've ever downloaded. You don't have to pay again. Anytime you download an app, if you delete it, you can go right back to the App Store and re-download it. So it's not all that scary to delete an app. unless it has a bunch of data that is your personal data associated with it. In that case, if you go delete app, it's going to say, well, we're going to delete this app and all the data you have in it. Are you sure that's what you want to do?
Pete, when I press on my delete, when I press and hold on something, I don't get edit home. I don't get the remove from screen. I get edit and nearby articles, share app, remove app.
Okay, are you on 16?
Not yet.
There you go. You got to be on 16.
Okay, that's a new feature there. Okay.
Yep. So this is where you would have the option to delete the app entirely or remove from home screen. I recommend that you keep one page and go through and remove everything else from home screen. That means that your setup will be just like mine. You'll have one screen of all your most frequently used apps, and anything else you might need is just sitting right here. And this way you're not scrolling through page after page of apps that you have to manage their location. Randy, I know when you download a new financial app, you have to find the financial folder and you have to put it in there, right? I mean, right? Yes, of course. This is what we do. Now we don't need that no more, right? We got app library, easy to find, right at your fingertips. And if you need more on your home screen, like I did, I cheated a little bit. If you look at my home screen, I needed just a few more. So I made a folder right there. And I have a folder with more apps. This is all my home automation apps. They had to be there, but I didn't want them taking up the whole screen. So see how convenient that is? All my home automation apps are just tucked away in one folder. But they're ugly. Look how ugly that folder is. So if you have a whole screen full of folders, it can get chaotic to the eye. And then there's everything else right there. I think it's nirvana. It's great. Managing all those screens, you gotta leave that behind. Okay, break time, right? And I think we do working breaks. I think we, I'm gonna walk away for 5 minutes, refill my water cup, come back and just do Q&A and stuff. We'll reconvene officially in 15 minutes, right? Is that what does that sound okay? Or correct me if I'm wrong. If you want to keep rolling through or however you want to do it, I'm here for you. So
break is good.
Okay, yeah.
One thing more you should mention, that the library is also on the iPad.
Mm-hmm. Yep, all iOS. I use it in my iPad too. It's just amazing. Very easy to manage there. Yep. App library in iOS 16 on all iOS devices now. That's good stuff. Okay, 15 minutes. That puts us back here officially reconvening at 55. But I'll be back in a minute just to do Q&A or show cool things or, just keep rolling. Just grab some water. I'll be right back.
Excellent job, Pete. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, the silence is deafening.
Bob, I can't find the hand the icon to raise to ask a question on my MacBook Pro?
Or, okay, on your Zoom screen down at the bottom, there's some icons.
Right.
The one that says reactions,
Yeah,
I believe that's where the hand is. Yeah,
I got it. Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah. While you're on there, do you have a opinion about having an outdoor camera that's connected to your Wi-Fi and how vulnerable that leaves your Wi-Fi for hacking? It's a ring camera and it doesn't have encoding on it.
Yeah, I don't have any experience
Okay.
with that. Be a good question for Pete though, because I know he's into all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Or maybe somebody else here can speak up too.
Bob, how do I get a black picture with my name in it only as a user when I'm away from my computer?
Are you on your Mac?
Yes.
Bottom left, there's a icon that says stop video.
Yes.
If you click on that, it'll have a slash mark through it, and what everybody else will see is just your name.
I don't see a slash mark. Oh,
No,
choose.
you have to click on it.
Okay, I clicked on stop video.
Mm-hmm. And all I'm seeing now.
Oh, it did
is
it.
your
Okay.
name.
Yeah. It
Yeah, you want to get up and
I did it.
get a
Thank
drink
you.
of water
Yeah.
or whatever. That's
Okay.
what you use.
Okay, I was clicking on the little carrot next to it and it just didn't do what I wanted it to do. Thank you.
And then, of course, the one next to it is if you want to turn your sound off and
Yeah.
mute yourself. Those are both of those are switches. So
I have a question for either Bob or Al. I know how to save these conversations or the chat, but then I don't know where they go to. I don't know if I should rename them. I don't know how to find them.
they go to a folder. Let's see, I'm trying to remember where it is. It's hold on, let me do a little quick search here on.
Thank you.
I was saving some of the things on YouTube.
Okay, by default, they go to documents. The first time you do it, it creates a folder named Zoom. And after that, they'll
How do I find documents?
They'll land in that same folder.
And where do I find documents?
Well, when you
documents.
go-
I see iCloud documents. Okay. Awesome.
Not
Thank
iCloud
you.
documents.
Yeah.
Local on your local computer documents. Then
On my
Zoom and
phone,
then-
it says files. It's a little blue folder and it says files.
What
No,
about on the
Files is
Mac?
on iCloud.
What about the MacBook Air? Where would it be?
It doesn't matter whether it's an Air or a desktop, it's still in the same place. Documents folder.
Okay.
Hey, Bob.
By the way, some of the confusion that I just heard was sort of like iOS and macOS have oddly different conventions. You know, like macOS is based on a folder hierarchy system, right? You operate your Mac by opening a window and finding the contents inside, right? It's an operating system based on folder hierarchies, whereas iOS doesn't have the same type of operating system environment as macOS. So finding files across either Mac OS or iOS can be different and tricky sometimes. Whoever said the Files app is absolutely right. That's basically the finder of your iOS device, right? The finder is where we operate in the Mac. That's
I'm
called
guilty.
Finder. And then the files is where iOS stores all those folders and hierarchies. So it is quite confusing.
Yeah, the question I was answering, Pete, was she was wondering when she records a chat, where does the recording end up? So I was telling her documents, then a Zoom folder. And the first time you do it, it creates the Zoom folder. Or actually, you know what? I need to take that back. That's recordings, I think. Let's see what's in it. Oh, no, the chat's in there also. Okay. Because it creates a folder within the folder. The title of the folder is whatever, it's the year, then the date, and whatever title the host is given to the file.
Hey, Bob.
Is that you, Richard?
Yeah. Any comments from anybody about the new Apple TV?
I don't know. Somebody can pipe in. I don't
Yeah.
have an answer.
Yeah, mine will be here today. The reviewers are saying third gen's a charm because this is the third iteration of this particular configuration of Apple TV. And they're saying that with all the power behind it, they're finally getting it right. They were saying, you know, like, I agree that the Apple TV is somewhat underpowered, meaning that the OS and the interface aren't, I wouldn't call them snappy. They work and it's fine, but it's not snappy. It's not fast. Reviewers are saying now it's lightning fast. It's very responsive. And so it's an upgrade and an improvement, but visually you wouldn't notice a difference in either the remote or what's on the TV. It doesn't enhance the TV's quality per se. If you have some upper end TVs that have HDR10 and other things like that, it could enhance quality, but you have to have all the most recent stuff to take advantage of everything that it has. But if you don't have an Apple TV, it's the best one yet. And now's a great time to jump in. And if you already do, I don't really see a big reason to upgrade if you're happy with what you have. It doesn't bring you any new features that you wouldn't have on an update for your existing Apple TV, unless you have one of the old gray ones or the little flat ones or something. But if you have a recent generation Apple TV, buying the new one won't get you any new features other than a very snappy, speedy interface. Well, okay, go ahead. Oh, it also enables Thread, which is a new type of mesh for home automation stuff. So this new type of networking called mesh networking is really big now, and Apple TV will be the second Apple device that can carry a mesh network. The first one being an iPad. No, the first one being a HomePod. Sorry, HomePod. So now HomePods and Apple TVs can carry Thread network, which is going to make the IoT or the Internet of Things faster.
Pete, I was asking a question about an opinion about the security of your Wi-Fi when you hook up external camera like a Ring that does not have protection on the connection.
Yeah, great question. I'll answer it sort of generally, and then if you have something more specific, I can get into that. But yeah, this is a great topic because nowadays these cameras are so inexpensive and so useful. You know, if you now if you hear a noise outside, you can pull it up. You can pull up a video. You know, that's what we do. If somebody comes to our front door, they show up on our TV screen. And it also says what name they are because iCloud recognizes the person, looks through my contacts and tells me, hey, Tracy's here. And she shows up on my screen before she even rings the doorbell. But the problem with this stuff is, can anybody look at your videos? You know, we're putting a lot of trust into the world of tech employees by implementing these cameras. But Apple has come along and done what they do best. They've said, we're going to guarantee our users privacy, and we're going to do so through HomeKit. So if you have a HomeKit compatible camera, then it goes through HomeKit, and through HomeKit, you have the option of saying, this video never leaves this house. And so Apple will keep all of your video local to your devices or local to your iCloud and not be broadcast. Because right now, what your Ring camera is doing is it is playing, that video is playing full time on Ring servers. So if somebody wanted to, they could go and look. I don't think they're doing that, but it has to go to Ring first. And then from Ring, it can go to HomeKit if it's HomeKit compatible. But if it's not HomeKit compatible, then Ring has to own that stream. Why? Because that's how they give you the features. So you want recognition, you want motion detection, it has to go to our servers. So all your video is on their servers, which is very, very bad. This is why going forward, I would only urge people to get HomeKit cameras because Apple has created a firewall that your video stays at your home and not broadcast to these third parties. Let me give you just one more example. I bought a Eufy cam, E-U-F-Y, Eufy. If you are going to buy a cam, I highly recommend Eufy. They're inexpensive, they're HomeKit compatible, they have pan tilt zoom, it's like a little R2-D2 where from one place you can do a 360 and look all around, you can pan up and pan down right from your phone. $129 for this camera. So when I travel or we're not around, it's so nice to be able to just look inside the house and see that all is well. Well, $129 and it goes through my HomeKit. But here's the thing, there's an option at setup. Now this is interesting. When I'm setting them up, there's this tug of war. The manufacturer is saying, set it up with our app and you will get all the features and you'll get all these enhancements. But the reason the manufacturer wants you to set up the camera with their app is so the video stream goes through their servers. But if you set up the camera with HomeKit, which Apple has created, and only Apple is handling that camera, then the video cannot be breached or stolen or hijacked or whatever, because it's in a secure enclave created by HomeKit. So having said all that, there is no way to get cameras that are not on HomeKit to be more secure or to guarantee in some way that your video isn't just being broadcast out somewhere, because it always will be if it's not a HomeKit compatible camera.
Is HomeKit a fee-based system? Is it a physical entity, or is it an internet? What is HomeKit?
HomeKit is it's a division of Apple, and it's free to all Mac and iOS users. You know, we all get HomeKit for free. PC users, you know, PC and Android users don't have the benefit of HomeKit. And what Apple did, it's the same philosophy that Apple did with printers. You may or may not know this, but at some point, Apple looked at the landscape of inkjet printer manufacturers, and none of those inkjet printer manufacturers were writing competent software for their printers. They just weren't. The software they were writing to ship with their printers was awful. And these companies did this to save money. They weren't software companies, they were printer companies. They didn't know how to write good software. Well, Apple said enough is enough. If our users are going to hook a printer up to our computer, we're not going to subject them to the lack of competence in this software that ships with it. There's no way. So what Apple did was went out and wrote code for every printer that's out there. And you can plug any printer into the Mac and it just works. This is the same principle as HomeKit. This is what had happened. GE, Philips, all these companies that had never been into apps or electronics before now have smart things, right? Philips has a whole line of Hue bulbs, and GE has refrigerators that you can hook up to an app. But none of these companies have competence or experience in making apps, so they're almost always terrible. Apple did the same thing. They said, hey, instead of you trying to buy a device and using it with your iPhone with this terrible app, we're going to write an app for you. It's called HomeKit. You can put these devices in this app. And when they're in this app, they're easy to control and they're reliable. And you don't have to use the third-party app.
Okay.
Not only that, but the manufacturer that manufactures this stuff under Apple's watchful eye has to build in a chip, a hardware chip, to ensure security for you. So if it is HomeKit certified, then that means it passes Apple standards for security and can be used with their internal system. Anything above that, there is no guarantee that I mean, look at Twitter. It was just purchased and half the people were fired. There's tons of stuff on their server that they own and can do whatever they want with. Same with any of these camera companies or anything like that. So I highly recommend, if you're doing cameras, get a HomeKit compatible camera. I'm happy to give you links to ones that I recommend, even your doorbell. And other than that, you will be broadcasting outside the house.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, Pete,
Uh-huh.
is what you said also applicable to Arlo cameras?
I'm not clear on that acronym. RO?
Yeah, Arrow cameras. I have
Arrow. Oh, this is a brand, Arrow?
I'll have to spell it.
Oh, EERO?
No.
Well, if the camera has a yellow symbol like this, if on the packaging or anything you see this yellow symbol, then you know you're in good hands. The device cannot become HomeKit compatible. You can't just upgrade it because a chip has to be built in to ensure to Apple that this is a device that can be secured by them. So please, when you buy something, look for that marker that says HomeKit certified.
Yeah, I got this some time ago. It's ARLO, Legacy.
Oh, Arlo. Yeah, no, Arlo is not a HomeKit player. But the solution to Arlo that is a HomeKit player is Eufy, EUFY. They have a whole line of cameras, from inexpensive $129 plugged-in desktop cameras to outdoor cameras with a big battery that has no wires that you can drill to any tree and see right on your phone. We have one across from our house. So if we want to see the whole front of our house, it's way over there. It can show the whole front of our house. It's really nice. And we know it's secure because it's a HomeKit secured. So
Pete, I posted a link with the HomeKit cameras in the chat.
perfect. Yeah, that's HomeKit camera. Yeah, go right there. iMore, they're reliable. So indeed, yeah, that's a great start for anybody interested. And that goes for any home automation device, not just cameras. But if you don't buy a home automation device that is HomeKit certified, it is just a really risky purchase. Like, it's not. I don't advise it, just because those companies can really do whatever they want, and there's no guarantee that the app is going to work well. As a matter of fact, these Eufy cams that I'm recommending, their app is horrible. So I'm so glad that I just use HomeKit to access those features. Okay, we are probably officially done with break and general Q&A and stuff. We're going to change topics, but before we do,
Can I ask a very
let's
quick
just wrap
question?
up and talk about, we'll talk about, we'll do some general Q&A.
I have a really quick question. Has anybody tried the Ventura new operating system enough to have an opinion whether we should wait to upgrade or go ahead and do it now? I know Ken often is pretty cautious about upgrading until he's had a chance to work on it for a while.
Yeah, if that question's for me, I don't.
Yeah.
No, there's no reason to wait at all. There's no reason to delay. Let me tell you what happens less and less, and what's been happening for decades is you hear anecdotal stories about people who are trying to keep software that was obsolete 10 years ago running, right? And they're trying to keep hardware like printers that were made 10 years ago. They're trying to keep them running. 10 years in technology is an eternity. 2 years is dinosaur. So a lot of times people upgrade their operating system and suddenly 10-year-old software or this 10-year-old printer doesn't work anymore. So the story you hear is, hey, I upgraded and a bunch of my stuff broke. The more likely story is somebody upgraded and they had a lot of, or they had several fringe cases that became problematic. That's why I always say, do not stay in the past. Do not let your electronics become obsolete, because then you try to play this catch up and you just can't do it. So keep everything updated and don't try to stretch hardware for 10 years. That's only going to cause you frustration. the life expectancy of a Mac is 6 good years, and then that's it. It's like,
Pete,
yeah.
Ken already answered for himself at another meeting on Ventura. He's already in the mode of go ahead and do it unless you have something that's mission critical.
Thanks. I must have missed that one, Bob.
Okay. And I just wanted to, I see a few more hands, so we'll do a couple more general ones before we dive into a couple of these features I think you're going to like. Chris, I see your hand there.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Hi, good to see you.
Yeah. My question is, I want to upgrade or move over to the app library, but how does Apple decide how to group your apps? Like, would it all be traveled together, or is it what you use the most, or how do they decide those groupings?
Yeah, hey, great question. The app developers actually tag these apps with their tag, right? So shopping and food, it depends on what the app developer has tagged this app as. Apple uses that metadata to sort it. So as you can see here, I've got like shopping and food. If I open that up, most of them are make sense, but like, sometimes I'm going, wait a minute. I guess all these do make sense. This is all shopping and food and stuff. And then you've got, information and reading, right? So there's more stuff here. So yeah, it just groups them together by their default category that's in the App Store.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think they go according to what they've been grouped as already in the App Store.
Right, their default category from the App Store, Yep. Okay, Deborah, I see you're back. Uh-oh, you're muted again.
I'm
Okay.
back.
Yes, hello.
And I've got only one page of.
Woohoo! Now get rid of all them folders and we'll be all set.
I have.
Oh, look at you. I'm proud of you. That's great.
Well, I've got 5 folders left to empty. But my question is, when things first come out, you kind of go, oh, that's neat. I'll take that. Oh, I'll take that. So I have, as far as smart home devices, Amazon features Alexa. And I have Nest, which is Google, I think. I have Ring. I've got all these different things. Should I just try and get rid of them and just start all over again, or?
Yeah. That's what I did. I used to have Nest devices. I just started all over.
Not impressed with Ring, and I'm not impressed with Nest.
Ring is horrible. Amazon now owns Ring. They're the worst. And ask Ken too. He's been out to help people. Ring has the worst. It's just, they're terrible. But anyway, you don't have to do it all at once, but yeah, I would be motivated to upgrade my peripherals to HomeKit compatible, because once you've used the HomeKit app, it's incredible. Everything in the HomeKit app can be set to automate anytime, and you can set it any way you want. I can set the lights to come on when the sun goes down. It's just, once you've used it, it is just an extraordinary use. Now, I want to talk about the 2 companies you mentioned. You mentioned Nest or Google, and you mentioned Ring, or that's now Amazon. So you've got Alexa and you've got Google. These folks want to take Apple out. They do not want Apple to advance anymore. They want to destroy Apple. So they'll say, no, Nest products are not compatible with HomeKit, because if we did that, more people could use them with Apple stuff, and we don't want that. So Google doesn't play nice with Apple, and Amazon doesn't play nice with Apple. And guess who loses because of that? You and me lose, because we can't get these things to work together well. That's why I show my allegiance to an ecosystem that honors me, the customer, by shopping with my wallet and buying HomeKit approved things only.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
And another thing while we're on that is wherever you can use Apple Pay, use Apple Pay. Even pass a store that doesn't have Apple Pay to go to a store that does have Apple Pay. Apple Pay is the only fraud-proof payment out there. And we have to let the people know that are in charge of this stuff that we want fraud-proof. And they'll never see overwhelming data that we want fraud-proof unless we use Apple Pay every chance we get. When you go to Walmart, they won't let you use Apple Pay. You know why? Because they think they're going to compete with Apple in the future somehow. Walmart's going to have their own pay. Home Depot doesn't allow Apple Pay. Why? Because they think they're going to have their own payment system and they don't want to let Apple do theirs. If we all use Apple Pay, and it is overwhelmingly more popular than all these other Me Too's that are not fraud proof, we can make a statement. We can make a difference. So please use Apple Pay every opportunity you get. It is fraud proof. So there's that, and it's convenient as heck.
I use PayPal a lot.
Oh, get rid of that. PayPal. No, yes, wherever you can, switch to your Apple Pay. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Wait, oh, yes, we've got some hands. Hi, Donna.
Hi. One more question again about the organization of my apps. I somehow organized my whole Apple page. And can I get them back?
No, you got to put them back where you want them.
How do I get that whole organization?
You mean the placement of the apps on the screen?
The Apple one that does automatic.
Oh, App Library.
App Library.
Yep, as you're scrolling through all your screens, just go past the last one and you'll see App Library. So
I undid it and now I have 8 pages of apps.
Oh, how'd you undo it?
I don't know. I think one of the things in there was system folders, so I took it out and I put it, and I had it in 2 places, so I deleted it on the second page.
Well, I'm not. You could stay after, and I'll certainly try to help you. But let me just show you one thing with regard to App Library. This is for everybody who is interested in that App Library thing we were talking about. Please tune in right now. But about App Library, here I am in settings, okay? And there is a setting down here. You see it's in about the center of my screen now called Home Screen. And if I tap on Home Screen, newly downloaded apps go to the App Library only, or do you want them to dump onto your home screen? I say, hell no, I want them in App Library only. I don't want them to dump onto my home screen. And notification badges. I have Show in App Library turned off. And what that means is when I go to my App Library, I don't see a bunch of red dots that tell me how many numbers each app has in there, because that drives me crazy. I just don't need to see those when I'm searching for an app. So that's why I turned that off. And then search Show on home screen. If I turn that on, now you get that feature Bob was talking about earlier, which is a search button kind of in the middle of the screen there. So those 3 things are available in settings. In the home screen area of settings here, you see it on my screen there, home screen, and you can choose those things here. This way, every time I download an app, it doesn't show up on my home screen and mess up my beautiful OCD home screen. It just goes in the library, and when I'm ready to use it, I go use it. Now, you might be saying, well, how do you find new apps that are in there? It has a recently added section right there. So recently added are going to be all the apps that I've recently downloaded, and they're really easy to find. Here they are.
Okay, and I solved it. It solved itself as we talked.
Oh, good.
I'm okay. Thank you.
Mike just needed a minute to catch up. Yeah, no problem. And Deborah, one more thing before I go over to Mary.
Yes.
Did you have? Oh, I thought I saw you signal for one more thing.
Oh, no.
You're all good.
I
Okay,
really
perfect.
want to see how this reordered itself.
Yes, I think you're going to enjoy it. Okay, Mary, go ahead.
This is really quick. When you say Apple Pay, that using that, you can still have it connected to a card other than an Apple to create an Apple card, correct? I mean, I know we can on Wallet. Is that what you're talking about, just using Wallet in Apple Pay, or only the Apple Pay Cash or Apple Card?
let's unpack that, shall we? Does
I
it?
thought it was quick and easy.
Oh, no, no, you opened a can of worms. Let's see if there's time at the end to unpack that, because that's a really good question. And I want to unpack that for you because it is a bit confusing as it stands now. And I think I can unpack it quite simply for you. But I don't want to make sure that we don't miss any of the planned stuff. So let me see if I can touch on these things, and hopefully at the end we'll have some time. Or if you just want to stick around for a minute or two, I'll unpack that question, because it's so important to know that, especially as we move into like, for instance, you go out to lunch with somebody and you don't have a $20 bill, but you want to give them $20. You just want to zap them $20. How do I just shoot $20 to you? It's real easy now. You just got to make sure you're set up properly. And like you said, does it go on a card? Does it go to my bank account? We'll talk through all that here. But what I wanted to talk about was a few things that relate to just sort of the health side of the phone. I don't mess with this too much. I'm not a triathlete or something where I'm always monitoring my health or anything like that. But I have been, I have high blood pressure, so I have a little cuff here, and I have to take it, and I enter my blood pressure in. And there's things I'm tracking now, like my sleep. I suffered from some insomnia for a little while. Now I track my sleep every night. But these electronic devices make it just astounding to collect this data and be able to view it. So what I wanted to start with was first focus. Now, focus doesn't really have anything to do directly with health, but they've upgraded the focus feature of your phone and your iPad to be really compelling now. At first, there was do not disturb and regular, right? Those were the two states your phone could be in, right? You could put it on do not disturb, or you could be on disturb, but there was nothing in between. You were either being disturbed, you were not being disturbed. And then they came out with, there was a little update to that where you could do sleep, do not disturb, and off, right? Now they added sleep. Well, they've fully matured the focus feature on iOS to be something quite compelling, if you ask me. Let me show you how I use it, and then you can form some opinions, and then I'll show you how to customize it for you. But here's a good example. Like for me, when I start work, I work from home, but when I start work, what I do is I go into something that I set up, and that's called Work Focus. So I want you to see my phone as it is right now. Here's the lock screen. It's me and my wife, has the time, the weather, and a timer up there. And then if I open that lock screen, I have this full page of apps, and this is the apps I use in my everyday life. Now it's time for me to start work. And what I'm going to do is drag down to my control center, okay? And I have a focus button there. And if I push that focus button, I now have all these different focuses that I can choose from. We're going to get into what they all mean here in a moment, and how to get rid of them if you don't want them there, and how to make your own. But let me show you guys what happens when I press I'm working. Okay, I'm going to press it right now. Ready? I'm working. Here's what happens when I say I'm working. My home screen is no longer me and my wife, because that could be a distraction for me. There is no information on my home screen, so I'm not distracted. I can swipe up and notice my app screen is completely different than it was a minute ago. This is a different screen altogether. It's got the moon behind it, and it's got two big widgets up here for my calendar. Because when I'm working, this is what I need to see most urgently. And then when I'm done with work, take a look. I swipe down, I toggle off my workday, and look what's back. All of my everyday life stuff, just like I left it. So making yourself various focus modes, whether you're exercising, whether you're at book club, you can determine exactly what your phone will and will not do for that determined period. Now if you have a doctor's appointment, you can say, and we'll see the features in a minute. You can say, hey, when I'm in this focus, either it's work or book club, the only person that can make my phone ring is my family. That's it. Everybody else goes to voicemail. You can set it like that so you can just focus on the things you want. Let's talk about how to do that. You can build your focus from the ground up and choose every little thing you want to customize, and it's easy. I'm going to show you how to do it. And hopefully you'll make your own focus and try it out. So here's what we'll do is I'm going to pull down to my control center to show you where I can access focus. If you are following along, if this interests you, pull down your control center and look for the word focus, because you'll see it there. And when you find it, don't touch it yet, if you don't mind, because I have one more piece of information to give you before you touch it. That button that's the shape of a rectangle, you see it here on my screen, right? Shape of a rectangle is actually two buttons in one. If my finger makes contact inside the circle, that's going to be one behavior. And if my finger makes contact in the rectangle part, that's going to be another behavior. If my finger makes contact inside the circle, that's simply going to toggle that focus on and off. So watch, if I touch that inside that circle, I've now turned my focus on. I'm just sorry, don't pay attention to this. So now it's on, it's lit up in red, and it's got the symbol of a monitor saying that my workday is now active. When I swipe back up to go back to my home screen, it's completely different now. It's completely changed to my work apps. These are all the apps I use for work every day. And notice none of those were on my home screen, or very few of those were on my home screen. It's a whole different set of apps. And I have my calendar widgets up top, because when I'm working, this is a way better view for me. I'm going to swipe down again, touch that little circle, and swipe back up, and look what's back, my everyday focus. So I'm now going to make contact with the rectangle instead of the circle, right? Instead of tapping inside that little moon area, I'm going to tap over here on the word focus. And that brings up a list of focuses. Yours might be short, it might be longer if you made more. But the key here is you see that button at the bottom that says new focus. So let's all make a new focus together. If you're following along, let's all do a brand new one together. I'll give you a second to get here so you're not left behind. But basically,
where do you do a new focus?
You pull down your command center. You know how to get to this screen, I think, right? You just, yeah, yep, you see, yep, we got a couple people showing that. Yep, you pull down to get to your command center, and on the command center screen, you should see the word focus. Some of you may not though, so I'm going to show you a second way to access focus in case you didn't find this here. Another way to, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, it's the do not disturb.
Yeah, yep, that's the same type of thing. Another way to find that would be to go in settings, and there is a focus in settings, right? You could just go here. This is the most direct way to not pull down your shortcut, but focus is also in settings. And so I'm just going to tap on focus, and I see that same list I saw before. It just looks slightly different, but here are my focuses right now. I want you to get here this way. If you got here the other way by pulling down and tapping focus, that's good that you know how to do that now. We'll need that skill later. But now go to settings and get to focus this way if you don't mind, because this is where we'll start our journey making a new focus. And to get here, you're just going to open settings, the regular old settings app, and right about in the middle of the kind of towards the bottom of the page, I have focus here. If you don't have iOS, I think 15 had focus too. If you have 15, you should have focus also. Okay, so let's get there by that route. Now we're in focus. I happen to have quite a few. I think I made a couple of these as experiments. But what I want to do is just talk about this screen for a minute. I really like share across devices, because what that does is makes it so when I go into work focus on my phone, all my other devices do the same thing. The same limitations apply to my iPad, my Mac, because I don't want to just silence one device. I want to get them all where they need to be. So that toggle right there will turn it on or off. If it's off, that means your focus is only going to apply to the device that it's on. If that is on, share across all devices, every one of your devices will immediately go into that focus once you invoke it. And then focus status. When you give an app permission, it can share that you have notifications silenced when you're using focus. This is cool too, because you're going to set a custom response text message, okay? If you're at the book club and it ends at 7, you can make a custom text message response that says, currently at book club, ends at 7, I'll get back to you then. And we'll look at how to do all that in just a moment. So you have your list of focuses here. Let's all together in the upper right-hand corner, make a new one. Let's make a new one together. So we'll click the plus, and it's going to ask us what we want to focus on. And since we're going to click around and really explore these options, we're going to choose custom, but you should be seeing several options. These are sort of like templates. When you choose one of those down below, like fitness, gaming, mindfulness, they're going to have some of the settings already done for you that are likely desired when doing those things. So we're just going to choose custom. You can access any settings from any one of these. You're not restricted. It's just a couple set up already to get you started. We'll access custom. Let's go to custom and let's name our focus. That's our first thing, is to name our focus. I'll let one of you shout out what we're creating a focus for. What is this for? Is this for when we're working? Is this for when we are at a meeting and don't want to be disturbed? Is this for sleepy time? What should this focus be for?
At a movie.
I love it, at a movie. So let's call this focus movies. I'm going to call that movies. And then you can name your focus. And you can also choose the color. If you have several focuses, this is helpful because you can easily identify your focuses. Since it's a movie, why don't we, I don't know, what's a movie? Gold, a silver screen. We'll just do silver. And you can choose your icon. Look at all these icons. They're fun. Since we're doing a movie, let's see, what's a good movie one? How about little headphones, maybe? Somebody sees a better one, let me know. But here's our focus. It's gray with headphones. That's how we've decided to create our focus. And we called it movies. Please don't do what I do because mine looks boring. Do a pink one with like forks or something. Yeah, have fun with it. There's lots of fun things to choose from. But once we've decided on a name and what symbol we'd like to see when it's time to turn it on, we just click next. Oh, it's saying, hey, we already know what you're looking for because you typed in movies. So that's fine. I like that. Let's just hit customize focus. If you got that, we'll just go to customize. No matter how you slice how you got here, this screen is always the same. This is the same screen, whether you choose sleep or anything else. You get to customize here exactly what focus means. If you're reading ahead, you're going to get lost. So I suggest you, stick with us. Yeah. Now, the first thing you want to choose when you choose a focus is what people and what apps do you want to have access to you while you're focused? So we're asking that question about a movie. We have to ask ourselves, when we're in the movie theater watching our movie, what apps or what people would we like to still be able to contact us? Now, to me, it's probably no apps. There's probably no app that should be interrupting me while I'm at the movies. However, people maybe, if somebody has an emergency, I don't know, I may want to say, okay, my mother and daughter, wife, kids, they can all come through, but if it isn't them, they can't get through. So this is what we'll decide first. So let's go to choose people. I think choose people would be a good place to start. You're probably going to see a list like I do of your frequently used contacts. These are people you probably talk to often. For me, it's spot on. It's people I work with. It's my immediate family and some extended family. So this was a great guess by my phone, but you can also hit the plus and add anybody from your contacts that you want. Now, if you're thinking, wait, I want to add somebody, but they're not in my contacts, they got to be in your contacts. So step one, if you did want to add somebody to this list, make sure they're in your contacts. So the people who I wouldn't mind getting a hold of me while I'm in the movies are most of these. I'm going to take a couple of my pals here off. I'm going to leave my immediate family, my wife and kids should still be able to contact me if I'm in a movie, because if they'll know I'm at a movie and the only reason they need to get a hold of me is an emergency. So I'm going to turn that on and let them break through if needed, but that's it. So those are the only people who would be able to contact me. So then I'm going to hit next, and then it's saying choose calls to allow. Now, some people don't want to affect their phone when they're in focus. They're like, let the phone be the phone. I don't care about that. I just want to control text or something. So here's where you get to decide about calls. Do you want to accept calls from everybody? Do you want to accept calls only from the people you allowed on the previous screen? Only from your favorites, your contacts, or a contact group? You can actually create a group in contacts and name that group as the only people who can contact you while you're in this movie focus. I want to pause here for a minute. This could be confusing. I want to make sure nobody's getting lost or not understanding the context. So far, we're pretty straightforward, but
My screen looks different on my phone.
can you show me?
I don't know how to show you.
Or hold it. You have your camera.
Oh, when I allowed people, I added Clark. And he's got a minus by his name. So when I go to the next screen, there's no choice to allow allowed people only. And when I touch that minus, it deletes him again. I put it on a second time.
So it won't let you add the allowed person, or when you tap Clark, what happens when you tap on Clark?
When I tap it, it erases him from the screen that says allowed people.
Okay, you must be. Oh, you're iOS 15, right?
16.
Looks like she added.
Maybe it is 15 still. Yeah, probably the late 15. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're seeing that because 15 and 16 differ slightly.
Okay.
You'll be able to accomplish the same things. They're just slightly different. So you wouldn't be able to follow along one-to-one here, but
okay.
Yeah, it would be a similar thing.
If you've already added somebody, you're going to see a minus sign because when you go back in the edit mode, that's how you get rid of them.
Yes.
So you don't want to touch
no.
them. There's a minus sign.
And if you did delete them accidentally, to get them back, you just use the plus and put them back. So
Exactly.
if they're there, they'll be allowed. But if
that's not the problem. The problem is when I go to the next screen, I don't have a chance to where you say everyone, no one, favorites, all contacts. Those allowed people is not one of my choices.
I see. Yeah, that's the previous. That's iOS.
Okay.
15. Yeah,
all
16, they really enhance these.
I'll be upgrading tonight.
Okay.
Only person she added was Clark, and then she deleted him. So the next screen obviously is not going to have allowed.
No, I do have another person there, Christine.
Oh, okay.
And Clark, I put back, but
Okay.
I understand.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I'm going to go to the next screen because I've made my choice here, allowed people only, and we chose that on the last screen, or contact group. Now that means you can go in your contacts app, you can create a new group, you can put 1, 5, 200 people in there if you want, and then that can be the group that you allow calls from. So if there is a large group of people that you still want to get to a hold of you, let's say you're volunteering with the Red Cross and you have a list of contacts that are there with you when you're volunteering. Well, you don't want to be disturbed by others, but you still want to be able to receive info from them. You could put them in a group and choose that. So there's a lot of possibilities here, very flexible for everybody's needs, whether it be small or large. I'm going to click done here. And now what we've done is we've said, okay, in our movies focus that we've just created, we want these people to still be able to contact us. So good, we're in good shape there. And then we're going to choose apps. Now, this is basically saying, what apps would you like to allow to notify you while you're at the movies? I'm going to say none. I don't want anybody. I don't want any of these apps breaking in. So if somebody wants to call me, fine, but I'm going to uncheck all of these. I don't want any of them bothering me while I'm at the movies. So I just uncheck them all. And then, so then I'll hit done here. So we've basically said no apps allowed. These people can call, but there are no apps. I don't want to hear from any apps, not Sports Illustrated, not text messaging, not Amazon, nobody. So I like that. And then once we've chosen those two, then there's an options, right? We can go into the options, which is right under it. And that allows a couple of things for us to opt into or out of. For number one, show on lock screen. Show notifications on the lock screen instead of in Notification Center. I don't like notifications on my lock screen, so I don't put them there. This is your preference. You can turn that on or off. Dim the lock screen, darken the lock screen when this focus is on. For a movie, that would be good. So I think I'll turn that on. Hide notification badges. That I don't really care about, so I'm going to leave that. So those are under options that we just looked at right there. Then you can customize all of the screens of your device while you're in that focus, which I think is pretty darn cool. So you can see here it's saying you can choose a lock screen for your phone, you can choose a home screen for your phone, and you can choose a new face for your watch that automatically pops up when you choose this focus, which I think is very smart. So let's go into choose on the first one. I'm going to go to this one here, and let's see what the options are for that first one. We get to choose from any of the lock screens that you already have selected, or you can create a new lock screen. So to do, here you see at the very top, it says create a new lock screen, pick a lock screen from the gallery, or you can choose from ones you've already created. Now I've already created these 6, so it's offering, bless you. So it's offering them to me as an alternative. So what I think I'll do is use the moon for when we're at the movies, or I don't know, maybe this beach sunset. That's what I'll use when I go to that focus. So that's really just your visual indicator that you are in that focus. Remember I showed you earlier that my steady state focus is this, but if I go pull down my notification center and I go to turn on my focus for work, and I do that by hitting workday, well, my lock screen is no longer us, it's dark. This is what would happen if you chose that option from here. That lock screen would change to whatever you want there. If you want it just dark, you just pick something and then say you want it dark. Lots of different things. I met somebody who has one for travel. When they're traveling, they do a travel focus. When they're traveling, their lock screen changes to one that has their name and their email address on it. So if they were to lose their phone while they're traveling, their lock screen has their vital information already on the image. I thought that was really smart, because if you're traveling, sure, you lose your phone, you have the peace of mind knowing that that lock screen is going to be on there. And when you're done traveling, you just turn it off and now your lock screen doesn't have your name anymore. It's kind of cool. Then I'll choose the home screen. Now this is where things get interesting. This allows you to choose any of your already existing home screen pages. Now, bear with me for a moment because this gets a little wild. If you have previously created home screen pages, you will be able to select any of those here. So what you're seeing in front of you now on my screen is all the home screen pages I used to have. Remember, we talked about having pages and pages of apps. This is how my phone used to be with all these pages. So it's telling you, you can pick any of those ones that you've chosen before. But the smart thing to do here is for you to make a new page and only put the apps on that new page that are relevant to you for the movies, which maybe none, or like what I've done for work. Remember, I put all my favorite work apps on one home screen. So you just pick whatever home screen you want to be active when you're in the movies focus. I'm just going to pick this one. If you have none here, you don't have to pick any. If you have a bunch here, you can pick one just for experiment's sake. You can always change it later. We can always delete this focus. But for the sake of this exercise, I recommend that you choose one. You're not locking anything in. You won't be changing anything. You won't be deleting anything. It's just a setting. So feel free to get wild with this one. So I chose that one. That's the home screen I want for when we go into movie focus. So I just put a little check by it and then I clicked done. So now we've chosen the lock screen for when our phone is locked. We've chosen the home screen, which dictates what apps we'll be able to see when we're in movie focus. And then for our watch, we can say, I just want a dark screen, something that is not going to light up on me. So you can choose what screen your watch is going to have when you're in that focus. Okay, so let's just recap where we've been so far. Our first thing was to choose the people we want to allow or disallow. Our second thing was to choose the apps we want to allow or disallow. And our third thing was to customize both the lock screen before we get into our phone and the screen that we see when we do get in, the home screen. Then we were able to customize our watch face as well. So when we look at our watch, it has a whole new different set of information on there that's relevant to what we want when we're in our focus. Okay, great. That should have been fairly straightforward, and hopefully you made some progress there. I'm going to scroll down and let's look at a little bit more about this. Focuses can be turned on automatically. Like my work focus starts every weekday at 9 a.m. and it ends every weekday at 5 a.m. I don't have to go in and turn on my focus. At 9 a.m. when I sit at my desk, my phone automatically changes to my work phone. And when I'm off, it automatically changes to my personal phone. Remarkable to me that I have that much power. You can turn it on here. You can set a schedule however you want. Turns on automatically. We can go in here. We can say smart activation and automatically turn this focus on at relevant times throughout the day based on signals like your location, app usage, and more. So if you have a movie theater that you frequent, it's the one you go to often, you can say, when I get to the movie theater, put my phone and my watch in movie focus automatically. Just by deciding, in this geography, I want movie focus to come on. Amazing. So you can set it by proximity, you can set it by a schedule that comes on at certain times, or you can just easily invoke it from your control center. You can, with one tap, basically turn on your movie's focus. Now, one last thing is you have focus filters that you can add to certain things. So let's open focus filters here for a moment, because what's really cool about this is you can filter your text messages to only people you want to see when you're working, right? I don't want my buddies from back home to be texting me throughout the day while I'm working, and those show up and then I have to text back. I'd rather they just get a message that says, Pete's working, or I'm at work, I'll text you when I get off. So when you tap on any of these, you can say, all right, I want to filter people in this list. And if I hit add here, now I have a focus filter for messages. And so the messages focus filter will be filtering people by list, or you can say, I don't want a focus filter. I don't want text messages at all. But let's look at one more just so you can see the versatility. I'm going to do a focus filter for mail. So I'm going to tap on mail. And I'm going to decide which accounts that are visible to me while I'm in movie focus. Now, this won't make a lot of sense for movie theaters, but it makes a lot of sense for work. Or if you're a volunteer at the church and you want to just have your email from that and no other things in your inbox. So I can go here to choose. It shows all of my email addresses. And if I just select one of them, my HP email here, then that's the only one that's going to show up when I go to focus. So don't get off of your screen there yet. Stay there, but let me demonstrate to you right now what we just built. Okay, here's my regular everyday phone. I have my regular everyday lock screen, and now it's time for us to go to the movies. So I'm going to unlock my phone and pull down the command center. And there's my focus button. If I tap it, there's our new focus right there called movies right in the middle. And if I activate movies, now take a look. My home screen has changed to just these things that I have here. And when I go into my email, it's only one account. That's it. That's all I see. I don't see all of my other emails. My email is now restricted to only the one account that we chose when we were in focus. I also want to show you, though, there's a very easy trigger to disable it momentarily. I can click on that turn off that you see there. So if I'm in focus and I'm frustrated because, darn it, I filtered out all my email addresses, but I do want to access something from a different address, what do I have to do? Go turn off focus? No, you can just tap this little button right here, which will bring back all of your email addresses temporarily. You can find what you needed and then turn that back on to filter everything back to just your work or whatever email like that. So you can see the power of using focus. I'm going to turn it off now by turning that off. Oh, there's another thing, just one last thing I wanted to show you with regard to the focus and the way it works, is that my watch face also changed when I invoked the focus. Right now, my watch has this really big time, colorful time thing on there. But if I go to my focus and I turn on my movies focus, then my watch face has changed to a whole new watch face, just like that. I didn't have to go in my watch settings. Just by virtue of having the movies focus turned on, my watch face is specific to what I chose on that focus. So I'll pause there. I know I went quite a few steps, but I did want to get all that out before we stopped and did some questions, if there are any. I can keep going if. if there's not. Yes, hi, Deborah. What do you got?
Oh, gosh, this is exciting. You could also use this to help develop routines in terms of this is what I want to do, couldn't you?
Yeah, yeah. Or, I have kids who go to school, high school and middle school. And these focuses are really useful to restrict what they're allowed, what incoming messages are allowed for them and what they're allowed to do with their phone until they get home. And once their geography shows that they're home, the focus is lifted and now they can use their phone normally again. Once the geography shows they're at school, it's locked down for school mode and they can't. So it's really useful for things like that. Proximity and being able to lock it down. Yeah.
And for sleep, that's a good way to turn the watch, that bright white watch thing off.
Yeah. Your watch face will dim and it will not come on at all while you're sleeping. It doesn't vibrate, nothing. The watch stays dead the whole night, but it is measuring your biometrics while you sleep, which we're going to get into here in a minute. It's amazing. Okay, so that's focus. I showed you the Swiss Army knife. Now you
I had one more question on focus before you leave.
Yeah, I showed you the
driving. Can you send an outgoing message to the person who's trying to call? Like in driving, it says I'm driving.
Yes, not to the person who's trying to call, but the person who's trying to text can get a reply. Yes,
okay.
But no, callers can't.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. So I showed you the Swiss Army knife. Now it's up to you to decide how you want to use it. There is a lot that focus can do. You can make very subtle changes that don't mean that much, or you can make, if you're let's say churchgoer and you want to make sure that when you get to church, your phone is in a certain mode where it doesn't make any noise and doesn't, you're not getting text messages and stuff from people. You can set it so even when you arrive at the church without even setting it on your phone, it just knows you're there. It says, okay, we're going to change your phone to this mode. So really remarkable stuff. You can wield it to be exactly how you want it, and hopefully you get some use out of that. We're going to spend the rest of the time in the health app. I'm going to have to go pretty quick, but the health app has shaped up to be astonishing in a lot of different ways. I did have a little bout of insomnia there, and so I decided to start measuring my sleep, and that's just done with a watch. So if you have an Apple Watch, you can wear it to bed, and it is going to measure biometrics. It uses a combination of breathing, heart rate, blood oxygen levels to determine your different stages of sleep as well. It not only can tell you when you're sleeping and you're not sleeping, it can tell you when you're in REM sleep, it can tell you when you're in core sleep, and it can tell you when you're in light sleep. So for me to be able to track these patterns has just been remarkable. As a matter of fact, in tracking the patterns, I saw that I would wake up at the same time, 3:15 every morning. For whatever reason, then I would go back to sleep. Well, it's when our automatic vacuum would turn on, and that noise would wake me up, but I never would have known it because I didn't hear the noise. It just wakes me up. But I was able to ascertain that by using the health app. So let me show you the health app and a few things I think you should be doing with it. But did somebody have a question before I jump in? I thought I heard something. Okay. One more thing is you might be saying like, well, how do you wear your watch to bed if it has to charge? What you might not know is that the Apple Watch will get, I think, 75% charge after 1 hour. So simply leaving it on the charger while you get ready for work is enough for you to go through your day with it. And if you leave it on for 15 minutes, I think it gives you something like 60%. So it's a very fast charge for the first 75% and a bit slower for the last. But that's designed to make it convenient for you. So if you wear your watch to bed, what I do is as soon as I wake up, I take it off of sleep mode, or it also sees that I've woken up and says, looks like you're awake. Do you want to come off of sleep mode? So I take it off of sleep mode, and then all my sleep data is uploaded to the phone automatically. I don't do anything. It just works. And then I take that watch off and charge it while I'm showering, getting ready for my day. And then when I get ready to leave, I put it back on. It's not at 100%, but it lasts me all day. And then when I get home, I put it back on for another hour, and then I wear it to bed. This cycle has allowed me to have it measure all of my sleep and still be able to wear it throughout the day. Well, then I got the Apple Watch Ultra. And so I decided to just do a 2-watch system. At night, I wear this watch to bed, and in the daytime, I wear my Apple Watch Ultra. So I'm exchanging them. I could have got like $150 in trade-in credit for it, but I thought, well, I'll just sacrifice that $150 and use it as my nighttime sleep watch. So it's great now. When I go to bed, I swap watches. I put my day one on, take my night one, put it on. Let's take a look at what kind of biometrics you get from wearing your watch to bed. What kind of things can it tell you exactly? I'm going to launch the health app, and we're just going to be in the home screen, basically the dashboard or the summary. All of you will see something different because the more input you put in this app, the more astonishing it becomes. If you haven't messed with this app and you have not input anything, you won't really see much. What I want to show you is, first of all, there's 3 tabs on the bottom. Those are going to be where you are at any given time. There's a summary, a sharing, and a browse. We're going to look at all 3. I'm in summary right now. So if you want to follow along with me, I suggest you be in that summary. Excuse me, yours might look different than mine. Yours might be, I chose things I wanted in my summary using the edit button. And so to do that, you would click this edit button here, but we'll get into that in a moment. Let me show you what I have on mine. These new watches are capable of measuring blood oxygen levels. As you can see here, I've got a blood oxygen reading there. The last one was taken at 9:12 a.m. And if I open that up, it shows all my blood oxygen readings from my watch. And I'll just go past the past month here. You can see all the readings I had. And I find it interesting. There's just so much you can ascertain from interesting data like this. Like, for instance, that blue dot way down low, that was, here it is. This is the week I had COVID. So you can see it detected the effect of blood oxygen levels during that time, and they were vastly different. I was under much more respiratory distress, as made obvious by the readings of my watch. So incredible stuff in here that this watch can do. But if we look at sleep, let's just talk about sleep for a minute. Here is last night. For me, this was last night. I was in bed for 8 hours and 19 minutes. 6 hours and 50 minutes of that I slept. My sleep was divided between REM sleep, core sleep, and deep sleep. And it shows exactly how much time I have put in to each of those. If I hit share more sleep data right down below, it shows me in quantities and percentages. 1 hour and 40 minutes was REM sleep. That's 22% of my sleep. It has been astonishing for me to be able to access this data and understand better what things are causing disruptions at night or this type of thing. You can see this 3 a.m. area. I used to have a lot of orange in that area. It used to spike right there, the orange. But then when I changed the timing of my vacuum cleaner, that went away. So it was the vacuum coming on. I never would have known it if I didn't track my sleep. It also shows you—
Question?
Yeah.
Mine is just showing bar graphs, not the different colors. Is that a function of being on 16?
Yeah, they've updated this quite frequently. So the 16.1 is going to be very robust, whereas 15, they were still ramping, but yeah, you're going to want to update there.
How do you activate it to track your sleep, Pete?
When you go into sleep mode on the watch, which is a focus, it knows to track your sleep. And there is an option that says use watch for sleep tracking. I'll show you that here. I'll show you that here in a moment. So here's the summary page. You can see many of the biometrics here. I got to show you a couple more, and then I'll show you where to activate these features. I severely injured myself about a month ago. I did severe damage to my leg. And yesterday was the MRI, and it's an ongoing thing. I really scrambled my leg up. But walking asymmetry, this has been just fascinating to me. Here's that spike is where I hurt my leg. So my phone is detecting my walking asymmetry. It's now telling me, okay, Pete, you're limping. Now I know why I'm limping because I really hurt myself, but but you may not know you're limping, or you may not know why and when you're limping. So this will tell you, this will show you if you have walk asymmetry. I had an average of 6% walk asymmetry before I hurt my leg, and then it spiked to 73.6% walk asymmetry because I couldn't use the leg. This type of biometric that's built into our phones and our watches is just so astonishing to be able to see.
Also alerts if you fall.
It
Oh,
also
it
works
looks
if you
like
fall.
well.
Yep, it works if you fall. Now, you can manually enter anything you want. Like if the doctor says, hey, I want you to track your sleep, but you don't have a watch, but you just time yourself and you want to make a record of it. You can go into sleep and you can add data. You can, up in the upper right-hand corner, you can say, well, I slept from this time to this time. Or if you're trying to record your blood pressure, like I do, you have to add the data. So I can say add data. And it just says, okay, the date, your systolic and your diastolic. And when you add it, it goes into these awesome records that you can check, you can filter and sort. And then at the end of all this, you can actually transmit all this information to your doctor so they can view it in real time. There's a share mode. So when you go to your doctor, he can pull up these biometrics and say, hey, these things are looking good. Your blood oxygen is right up there. Your walk asymmetry is down. Your sleep, you're getting plenty of sleep. These things can help you with your diagnostics at the doctor. There's also a couple more here. You can turn on hand washing, and as soon as it detects that you're washing your hands, it'll set a timer for 20 seconds to ensure you wash them for full 20. And here's where you can connect your provider to your health records. It's over here. And so the health app can be where you access your health records if you connect your provider. You don't have to go through their app anymore. Once they're connected, you can view all your health records in the health app. So if your provider has allowed that connection, when I hit get started here, you can see this list, but I can search for any. You know, if I do North Bay Hospital in what was that? Solano County there, I can search for North Bay, and if they're in there, well, then I can connect my account with your health. So check in there to see if your provider will allow you to connect your health app, but if they do, then you can access them here.
Hey, Pete.
Yes.
You can automate a lot of this. Example, I have to do my blood pressure twice a day. When I do it, the device I use for the blood pressure automatically syncs with my iPhone, and I don't have to write anything down.
Yeah, I love that.
There's scales that you weigh yourself. They'll Bluetooth into your phone or your watch.
Yeah, a lot of this is automatic. I don't enter any of it manually, but I did want people to see, in case they didn't have any sensors, that you can enter it manually. But yeah, these blood pressure monitors, the glucose meters, a lot of these communicate directly with the phone, and the app captures these biometrics for you. It's quite remarkable if you haven't dove in there yet. There's a couple more things I want to make sure I touch on in the health app. Okay, so sharing, that's where you would share with your doctor. I happen to be sharing with my wife. She can access my health records from her app. This is if something catastrophic happens to me, I want her to be able to speak to what was going on at the time. It'll even show recent heart rates and breathing and stuff. So if there is some kind of an emergency, they'd be able to tap in and find out, okay, he's still breathing. We just can't find him, or who knows, something like that. And then in Browse, it shows all of the entries you can make. So in Browse, here's all the health categories, and you can make entries in any of these. And in fact, at the bottom, there's even one called Other Data. You can enter symptoms in here when you're not feeling well, and it'll track your symptoms for you. It'll keep them and show you a chart and a graph of when you got these symptoms and why. You can put your food in here. You can make any of the entries you want to track these things. One of my favorites, lately I've had to take blood pressure medication. The first time in my life I've had to take regular medication. So I was like, okay, what app am I going to use to track it? I downloaded a couple of apps and they were awful. Some of them wanted me to pay 99 cents. Look at this. This is amazing. It's built right into the health app. It's called Medications. Not only does it find a picture of your medication for you so you never mix up the darn pill, it shows it there big and bold so I can see which one is which. And it found that picture for me. I didn't have to go find it. And it every day pops up as a reminder. Do you want to log your medications for today? And I can just click log all taken for today and be done with it. Real easy to log my meds now every morning after I take them. Which reminds me, did I take them today? I was getting ready for the class. I don't remember if I did. Okay, so there's a bunch of things that I find really compelling about today's health app. It wasn't always like this. The health app wasn't always this useful, but I find lately with all the updates they've made, it is of incredible utility, especially if you do, like Bob said, a couple of devices that are external that can add to this data, like a watch. I would start there if you're interested in any of this, because the watch does blood oxygen level, your steps, your gait, your stride, and your heart rate. And it can do an ECG right from your wrist. So if you are interested in this stuff and you are wanting to track health or get into this, an Apple Watch is your first step. Apple Watches are from like $299 on up, and the on up just means faster processors and more sensors. So I don't know, the more money you spend, the better they are at doing this stuff. But even a basic one would be just fine for this type of thing. Whew, okay, the last thing I wanted to talk about, and this is sort of critical. I'm going to put it on the lock screen here so you can see my lock screen. If I am a first responder, people are not wearing metal bracelets anymore, right? People are carrying these devices in their pocket. If I am a first responder, and you're not responsive, and I am on the scene, I am going to try to unlock your phone. And since I can't, right, again, I'm a first responder, I just tried to unlock your phone because you're unresponsive. And I can't, because I don't have your code and Face ID doesn't work. This is good. We don't want people being able to get in your phone. So it's done what it's supposed to do. But look what the first responder sees in the lower left-hand corner. You see what they see there? First responders are now trained to go there. And when I click that emergency, it is going to give me a medical ID. Now, anybody can view this if they pick up my phone, because I have volunteered this information for emergency personnel. So if somebody comes to me and I'm unresponsive, they see my contacts here, all right there of people who I want to notify, and I can enter in any kind of medications or allergies or sensitivities of any kind. So first responders now, instead of looking for that bracelet, they know to go here to check for who you want me to contact and what are you allergic to. So if you don't have anything filled in here, I think that's a huge missed opportunity, because you don't need this till you need it, but when you need it, you need it. So let me show you how to fill that out. You ready for that part? Or I thought I heard a question.
Is that only on a lock screen?
The way the first responders would access that information is only on the lock screen, yes. But you entering the information is going to be different. I'm going to show you how to do that now. But yes, if I was a first responder, the only way I'd be able to get to that is from the lock screen. And the reason for that is first responders can't unlock your phone. It's locked. They can't do Face ID and they can't put in your passcode. So they're wanting to get a hold of somebody for you because you're unresponsive, but they don't know who to call because your phone is locked. But if you enter this emergency information, like I'm about to show you, these first responders now can call somebody. And they don't even have to use their phone. They use yours. They just touch that person's name on your phone. When my mom answers, they say, Judy, this is a first responder. Your son is unresponsive. Here's what's happening. To me, this is critical. This is something we all should be doing. So let me show you how to access that emergency ID or that medical ID and how to make sure that it's set up properly on your device. I'm gonna open the health app again. So same app we were just in, the health app. And from here.
That's what I was talking about. That's why I kept going in your Amazon plan. I don't see it. I don't see it.
Okay, we're at the health app, and in the upper right corner is my face. Now, my face probably won't be on your health app, and if it is, let me know. No? Okay, good. So it should be your face, but if you tap your face up there in the upper right-hand corner, this is where we can enter the details of our medical ID. So we're in the health app. Keep your eye on that lower, remember those tabs along the bottom. Which tab are you in? Are you in summary? Are you in sharing? Are you in browse? Because you want to be in summary. And then at the top, you should see your face, or at least a little dot like you see mine is right up here. This is where we're looking right here. If I tap that, it is going to allow me to access my medical ID. Whatever I put in here is what first responders can see if I'm unresponsive, right inside that bucket. So when we open it, it has lots of questions for you. What do you want to put in here? Do you have any more allergies? Do you want to add any, when I put edit, look at all the things you can add. Medical conditions, medical notes, allergies and reactions, medications. Who do you want us to contact? Are you a donor? There's just so much that people need to know. So go in your health app, make sure you're on the summary tab. Upper right-hand corner is your account. When you click it, you'll see medical ID. Once you fill that out, then first responders will be able to access that information from the lock screen without unlocking your phone. Please don't go anywhere today without doing that. Please get them all entered in before you move on for your day. Just put the stuff in there. Just do it. All right, and that brings us to the end. I'm 4 minutes over. I think that's a record. I'm usually like 24 minutes over, so I think I break my arm patting myself on the back here for finishing on time. Yeah, there it is. I'll open it up to Q&A, and I'll happily stick around for a little bit if needed. I think I gave you guys a lot to do. You have tons of homework, right? You have plenty of things to go do. You got to set up focuses. You got to get the app library turned on. You got to get your first responder. Sorry, Barbara, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, I had asked you how to set it up so that you can track your sleep data, what you do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good. I'm glad you asked. Thanks. Thanks for reminding me. For the sleep, if anybody wants to use their watch to slap their, not slap their sleep data, but to track their sleep data and to get those biometrics, you're going to want to open the watch app, right? So once you open that, you will open here's a watch app here. Okay. There we go. I'm in the watch app now. And by the way, you can make watch faces here and stuff and then upload them to your watch. It's a fun app if you haven't poked around in there. But in here is where we will find the sleep tracking thing. So I'm going to scroll down until I see sleep, which is pretty far down, but you see it now on my screen here, sleep, and watch app. And if I open sleep, this is where we can say track sleep with Apple Watch, and we can make sure that's turned on. If that's turned on, then you are set. And if you set an alarm for the morning, it'll gently vibrate on your wrist instead of making sound. So it'll wake you up gently. The vibration increases every time. So if you don't wake up on the first one, it'll do it harder. If you don't wake up on that one, it'll do it harder. If you don't wake up on that one, it'll make a beep and do it even harder. So that's a good way to wake up. It won't let you sleep through it.
But they always do the honey roasted nasty ones.
So all you have to do is activate the track sleep, and then it automatically tracks all those different aspects that you talked about, right?
All those are already true. Yeah, all the other health aspects like your gait, your stride, your heart rate, your blood oxygen level. Yeah, those are all constantly checking throughout the day. I think my blood oxygen level is measured a dozen times throughout the day. My heart rate is taken a dozen times throughout the day. It'll warn me of atrial fibrillation or whatever, it'll warn me of irregularities in heartbeat. It doesn't warn of heart attack. That's a big liability. They can't do that. But it'll warn in irregular heartbeats and stuff like that. So it just, I don't know. Why wouldn't you have one on? It's like, it seems like a lot of benefit for one small little device. Well, how'd we do? Did we reach the finish line or? Good.
Another outstanding show.
Yep.
Thank you, Al.
Yeah, loved it, Pete.
My pleasure. I'm always happy to come hang with you all, and you're the
You
most.
always give us what we didn't know we needed. So
Yeah. I think that's a fair way to frame it up, right? You always walk away going, "I didn't come for that." Yeah.
My brain's exploding.
Yes. I like to leave you with a high level of brain activity. Yeah. Well, I think I'm back again soon, right? I think I have a couple of these.
Oh, good.
Hope so.
All right. Both the meeting, correct? I believe general meeting and the next Saturday after that, I believe. Am I not correct? Am I wrong?
Yes.
Hey, shout out. What do you want to do on that next Saturday? What do we want to do? Get me ready.
Well, the Apple discussion is still outstanding.
Which one?
The Apple card, the card.
Oh gosh, you are right. Payments. Yeah, let's go over payments from Apple Pay to the Apple Card, the credit card, the texting the money. Yeah, let's demystify payments. That'll be one half. We'll do payments. I like
A
that.
little bit on widgets.
Payments and then widgets. Okay, customization type stuff.
Shortcuts.
Shortcuts. Okay, widgets and shortcuts. Great. Okay, payments and then widgets and shortcuts will be the second half. I love it. And I promise you'll walk away with 100 things that are like, yes, this is awesome. It's going to be a good one.
Magnificent.
And can you do more on maps next time?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, let me add that. What did we say? We said, Al, what was that? I'm sorry, I was scribbling it down, then I stopped. We said we were going to do payments, and then the second half.
Shortcuts.
Shortcuts, that's right, and customizations.
Customizations.
And maps.
Do you ever do things on accessibility? I have a action tremor that is really beginning to impact. And I'm looking at dictation and I'm looking at,
Other than knowing all the features fairly well, yeah, I mean, I suppose that could be of some use there, I think. There's also studies that I believe you should opt into. These studies measure the severity of tremors with your phone, and then it reports all that back to Apple, and they take that data. So there's many things you can do both to, help with the data for that, to see if it's something that's identifiable through that. And there are many things you can do to modify your phone to, like you said, be more easy to use, dictation. There's a lot in the accessibility app that is very useful. Even head motions to go back and forth on a web page and stuff can be turned on. So there's a lot in accessibility. I won't claim to be an expert in it, but I am fairly savvy with all the settings. So I'd be happy to help there and see what use I could be. But...
Pete, Richard Park.
Hey, Richard.
What are the latest phones and watches and so forth to do the medical thing?
Let's see, the latest ones. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's like whoever's capable of iOS 15 should have a fully formed health app. Now, there were iterations of the health app before iOS 15, but a lot of these features were either in production or didn't exist to the extent they do today. So if you have a device that runs iOS 15 and you have an Apple Watch, you can use the health app with the Apple Watch. But Apple Watches start very basic and go up from there. So some of them don't have the ECG feature, or some of them don't have the blood oxygen level feature. So what I did when I bought my Apple Watch is sort of made sure I set aside enough budget to get the one that has all the biometric readers, but they don't break it out like that. So you can't just pick it like, oh, I want this watch that has this. It's basically you have the newest series of Apple Watch, will always have the newest features. So right now we're on Series 8. And the Series 8 Apple Watch is a great device. I think it starts at $349, and that's the lowest one that is going to have all of today's features. Now, the exception is the Apple Watch Ultra. They built in more features to that, like GPS connections and things that the regular Apple Watch doesn't have, but not related to health. Your health app on your regular standard Apple Watch and your phone are going to work great for you. But if you are buying one, I highly recommend the Series 8, the latest version, because you're going to get the most updated sensors, the best accuracy and all that. But if you already have one and you want to use it, it's most likely that the hardware you already have will work. You may just be limited by not having all of the sensors that the newer ones have. So
thank you.
Are the comments recorded also? Are they saved?
What's that?
Are the comments saved in here?
Oh, good question. Do you guys? Oh yeah, I think that Al prepares a PDF with all of these links.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
That alone is just tremendous value. Thank you for doing that, Al. So much appreciated. Well, with that, I think I'm gonna got a tailgate party to go to for the Georgia Bulldogs. So we'll go check that out. Thank you very much for having me. I'm really looking forward to our next 2 meetups, and I've got a lot of work to do here to make sure that I get the very best 3 hours for these topics you recommended. So
Thanks for
thank
your
you
time,
very much.
Pete. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Pete. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. So I take it I'll see the board in about 40 minutes.
You shooting for 1 o'clock?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If we want to go a little later, it's all up to us, really. I'm going to just leave this open. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you, that's what I thought. What do you think, Lisa? Is married? No. Rich
I think that'll be fine.
is Lisa making a face? And
Well, I had to do some adjustments. Sorry, Thomas. Anytime, I'm just hanging out.
okay.
Need to go stretch my legs.
All right. I'm gonna be here manning the video, looking like I do at about 5 till 1. I'm just gonna leave it open. I don't think any need to shut it down.
No.
All righty. Well, it's
All right.
open and
See you
for
in a bit.
open comment and dialogue and all that. Thanks, guys.
All right. Take care. See you
Oh,
later.
yeah. See you soon. I won't need that. Let's put that out of the way. Features.